What's going on, everybody out there? Welcome to the eye test. I'm your host, Mark. I'm back at you hosting again because last week we had Shawn doing his best chance to outdo me. He did all right, but it ain't gonna fly like that. I'm still your host, Mark. How you doing out there? I'm with my co-host Shawn, and I'm with Tobias. Hey, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you?
All right, man. For those of you that don't know already, we spoke about Tobias several times on this podcast when it came to the fantasy stuff that we had to talk about before. He's one of our he's in the fantasy league with us, and he's also in the 750 group with us. Shout out to 750. Um, and um, and if you watched our live, he was also on our live. So and we had a little back and forth about Brady and Patrick Mahomes, which is kind of why he's here today. So we're going to get into the Brady. Look, he got a shit eating grin
Oh
because
man, listen.
you know what I'm saying.
I know.
Us.
I have a feeling that you're gonna come at me. You're gonna say some blasphemous stuff. I, I got my drink already ready because I know you're gonna cause me to drink tonight. So I'm ready for it. I'm ready.
listen, listen, man. I'm gonna keep it clean. I already hurt some feelings earlier and unintentionally, so you know what I'm saying. I ain't gonna. I'm gonna keep it clean because I ain't mean to hurt nobody's feelings earlier. So, but with that, I'm gonna just say this: we gonna get into it, and I wholeheartedly, even before all that, I wholeheartedly came into this episode intending to just give factual statements and stuff that you also saw with your eyes. And if you decide, nah, fuck all that at the end of the day, then I mean, I can't help you to see the light. You know what I'm saying? If you want to be a media drone and follow the narrative, that's on you.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
Hey man, I'm just calling them like I
I,
see them, you know?
I see.
Okay.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, but anyway, Shawn, how you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. Good. Super Bowl wasn't what I wanted to see because I was hoping for a shootout. This clearly was nothing like that. But either way, of course, somebody in full disclosure, it's no secret. Never been a Tom Brady fan. You know what I'm saying? No secret. Me being a 49er fan, it just can't line up correctly. Being a Joe Montana and Steve Young guy, it can't line up. So full disclosure, but I like to take an unbiased approach to things. So I believe that I think both of you guys might be a little surprised by some of my responses today.
Uh, well, you have a
Will
te- you have a tendency to surprise, oftentimes for the good, but sometimes your surprises be whack. But we'll see.
That's all relative to who's looking at it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
If
you
you
know.
open your mind, Mark, you talking about people having an open mind. If you have an open mind and I'm hitting you with facts, then maybe, like you said, I can only show you the facts. I can't help you walk out of the darkness, man. If
All
you want
right.
to be a media drone, Mark, then you
No,
can do that as well. So
listen,
It's
listen.
funny that Mark bring up media drone. I think he's probably the biggest media drone.
All right.
hey, hey, now we got to get into it now. We just
All
got to
right,
get
listen, 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 listen,
it.
listen. Before
Okay.
we do that, this is shout out to Small World Artistry, man. We're going to give a little advertising for Small World Artistry right now because I see my guy here Tobias in a straight black hoodie and it's a travesty, dog. And me being the hoodie floss guy, I can't allow this. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, you gonna have to get this eye test hoodie. I know you've already wanted one, and you already probably got one on order. But like, I can't let you keep walking around in a straight black hoodie like you about to rob somebody out here in the streets. Like my man got a gray Scully on in the black hoodie.
Really quick, Mark, I want you to think about this because if he is about to rob somebody, do you really want him wearing an eye test hoodie? But you know what? That's it. I'm not accusing you of anything, Tobias. You know what I'm saying?
If I'm going to rob somebody, it's going to be an eye test hoodie.
Wow.
Okay. All right. There we go.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that's our hoodie with our unique logo is very identifiable. They would find it very quickly if they saw if he was in our hoodie.
Tobias said he'd do it for the culture. Yeah.
But all right, man. But listen, but that's for real. Shout out to Small World Artistry who makes our hoodies with the eye test logo. Very comfortable. We've he's on here all the time, Tyrone. Anyway, but like this, let's get into this, man. You want to talk Super Bowl, so we're going to talk Super Bowl. Everybody's saying, "Oh, let's address the narrative first of all."
Okay.
Like one, I want to establish clean slates. Now, Shawn, have I ever been known to be somebody that will stand, like that would just keep arguing a point that is useless? Like once I see the logic and the point, will I keep arguing it?
No. But okay. But what I will say, since we're bringing up what your tendencies, Mark, you have a tendency to give the benefit of the doubt all the way up until the last drop for the players that you have taken a liking to, and that's what I'll give you. That's what I'll also say. Tobias, did you see that? Do you see that happen?
Yes, I listen.
Okay.
I still see it to this day.
Okay. I just
days after the Super Bowl, I feel like I'm still seeing.
But like, listen, we're going to get into it because it's nothing to give the benefit of the doubt of, and like, but we'll get into that. But like, and also I want to establish that in this, like, I'm not going to be trying to talk over nobody and nothing like that. You make your point, but I'm gonna be ready to fire back off. And so, like, I might interject. I might want to interject it.
Might you always interject? What are you talking
Like,
about?
listen, sure. But like, what I won't stand for, Shawn, from you today is I won't stand for the trolling where you know the answer and you know the situation, but you're gonna be like, "Hey, I know this will dig at him right now, so I'm gonna say this."
I don't have to troll. You know what I'm saying? You know, you're a caricature of yourself, Mark. Why would I have to troll you?
Shawn, you did it. Shawn, you did it just the other week. In fact, one of our YouTube commenters was like, he's never said that, and you said live on air, I said something that I didn't say, and he was like, I've never heard him say that. He never said that.
Look,
and you
Mark,
knew I didn't say it.
all I'm going to say is, you know what? I really want you to get into this because, like I said, I have points from an unbiased perspective on both sides of the ball. Tampa Bay and Kansas City Chiefs. Some of it y'all gonna like, and some of it y'all not gonna like. I'm just gonna be honest. Neither one of y'all is gonna be happy with what I gotta say.
But I'm gonna keep it real though. I'm gonna try to keep this. I'm gonna try to keep my opinion as unbiased as possible.
Okay.
And I will start off by saying Tom Brady currently is the GOAT. Like, I will start.
It's so painful for you to say, Mark.
It wasn't. Nothing was painful about it. It's just, it is what it is. He is currently the GOAT. Yes, he is currently the GOAT. But I guess my first question to Tobias before we get into particularly this Super Bowl, I guess my first question to you would be, even given the loss, do you see a way forward to where Patrick Mahomes supplants Tom Brady?
No, I don't see that at all no more. The reason why I don't see it at all no more is basically it's really solely based off his performance in the Super Bowl.
Hold on. Because no, I apologize. Because no, what you just said made me realize a question that I wanted to ask you before that question, and I apologize for that.
Okay.
So I'm a pause. I'm actually, yeah, I'm a pause, and I'm gonna start back up. All right. So look, my question. I guess my first question really would be, just to establish a baseline, is do you believe there's a such thing as a QB versus QB battle in a singular game? In a game where the teams play each other, is there such thing as a QB versus QB battle?
Mm. I'm gonna say yes because I mean, the QB has always been the star position on a team, whether we kind of like it or not. It's always been the star position. So you always going to see these QB on QB battles, and you talking about Pat Mahomes, which is probably going to be You know what? I'm not going to say that no more. He's probably going to be the second best greatest quarterback of all time at this point. Because at this point, I honestly think he's chasing the ghost, in my opinion.
All right. Well, was that it?
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
Okay. My question to you is, how could you see a QB versus Shawn? I'm not asking you because you and I are of one mind on this particular
Well,
question.
I do. Well, yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So, like, how I will ask you this: how do you see it possible as a QB versus QB battle in a singular game when the quarterback doesn't play against the other quarterback?
Basically, he's saying you're playing two different defenses. So how do you grade? Like, how do you go about comparing the two performances in a QB versus QB battle? Since you say you could see a QB versus QB battle.
I guess it all depends on the defenses they going against.
But but if the defenses aren't equal and the offensive lines aren't equal, if everything is not equal in the battle, how can it be a QB versus QB battle? Because in basketball, you could have a Michael Jordan versus LeBron battle or a Michael Jordan versus Iverson battle because they are on the court at the exact same time.
Mm.
They are going head to head, right up against each other, whether somebody else is defending him or not. They are on the court with each other at the same time. They both affect each other's gameplay. In football,
Mm-hmm.
what Tom Brady does, or what Patrick Mahomes does, or what Matthew Stafford does, has nothing to do with what the other quarterback does. And nor does, if a quarterback throws an interception, Tom Brady had nothing to do with that. If a quarterback gets sacked, I don't see that sack stat line on Tom Brady's stat sheet.
I'll be inclined to agree with that also. Like I said, I guess it all just depends on how you really just grade the defenses they going against. Because Tom Brady throwing an interception does have a residual effect on what Pat Mahomes does, depending on what the field position is.
Well, let me put it this way. I'm gonna jump in here real quick because
Okay, go for it.
the way that I see it is I grade quarterbacks on the individual performances against the defense they're facing. You can have lopsided stats one way or the other. You can have one player with better stats and one player with lesser stats, and I can still, in certain scenarios, say the person with the lesser stats, win or lose, played better than the other quarterback.
Right.
And a perfect example to me would be, Tom Brady. Didn't he just throw 3 touchdowns and 3 picks the other day?
Correct.
That wasn't a great performance. You know, did he out? That was against the Saints, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, did he outplay Drew Brees? Yeah, he did. But But if you look at the end of the game, if you look at the amount of interceptions and the amount of turnovers and all that stuff, you might say that stat-wise, Drew Brees was better.
Mm-hmm.
But we're talking about Tom Brady's numbers versus the Saints defense, which has been touted as they've been tops in the league for what, most of the year.
Mm-hmm.
You know, especially when it comes to the pass defense. You've seen what the pass defense did to Tom Brady earlier in the year. So even though Tom Brady went out and threw 3 picks in 3 touchdowns, I still thought that, you know, when you look at it, his performance was still a pretty good one, considering that 2 out of the 3 interceptions wasn't even his fault. So it's like people like to just look at numbers and just look at numbers, or just look at the performances, the raw performances. Because if you look at Drew Brees, his completion percentage was through the roof. You can't. My problem with the QB versus QB battle is when they talk about who won the battle, they either talk about they talk about one or two things. They talk about who won the game, or they talk about who had the better stats. And usually, they only talk about who had the better stats if that person won.
Right.
So that's my problem. Is there's a bunch of bias that comes with the QB versus QB. Like, if you're really going to have a conversation about QB versus QB, then you have to look at the totality of the situation.
Right.
So, and to me, once you start doing that, if you give credit to the guy that lost, then you're just going to get a bunch of backlash. You're going to get a bunch of people that disagree with you, because it's supposed to be the most influential position on the field.
Yeah, it's a messy. It's a very
dependent. It's a very dependent position.
Right.
But that's not what people talk about. So
yeah, it's a messier conversation. Like
yes.
It's not a neat conversation to have if you really want to have the true conversation.
Yes.
Like it's a neat conversation to have. Well, QB versus QB, this team won. Guess what? Here's a perfect example.
Do it.
Eagles versus the Patriots. Tom Brady outplayed Nick Foles. Tom Brady far outplayed Nick Foles. But guess who won? So are we saying Nick Foles was better than Tom Brady on that day? Even though Tom Brady threw for 545 yards?
He clearly did enough. He did more than Tom Brady to win.
No, the Eagles team. The team did more than the Patriots to win.
I guess my problem with the statement saying this person did more than that person to win is one person is being asked to do more to win,
right?
And that's where it's unbalanced. Like Nick Foles, I don't know if he was being asked to do more than Tom Brady was,
right?
You know what I'm saying? Honestly, you know, like. I think, you know what it was? It was Tom Brady or bust. The defense was getting toasted. Everybody was talking about how they didn't start, what's his name?
Malcolm Butler.
Yeah, Malcolm Butler. They were talking about that and how that was affecting the game. Like, they absolutely, once they realized their secondary was toast, it was Tom Brady or bust. It was not the same scenario on the other side. Eagles had pass rushes. The Patriots didn't. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't an even game. So I agree with Mark. I think Tom Brady made 2 mistakes in the game. He didn't catch the damn ball. You know what I'm saying? And then for whatever reason, his pocket presence was completely gone on the play where he got sacked and he fumbled the ball at the end of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Brandon Graham.
For Tom Brady to win, he needed to make 0 mistakes. It's not fair. It's not fair to compare what Tom Brady was asked to do versus what Nick Foles was asked to do.
Yeah, y'all bring us some good points.
So yeah.
Okay. So with establishing that baseline.
Okay.
Continue your previous statement.
You're talking to you, Tobias, right?
Yeah, Tobias.
I hope this is not building into.
Hey, this is chess, not checkers. So look, man.
That's why I'm thinking move here, because it sounds like y'all about to build in excuses for Pat Mahomes.
Hey, y'all,
no.
Mark is doing his own thing. I'm just in the middle.
Okay.
So Mark did not include me with what Mark's doing. I know Mark, so I know where he's going with this.
Okay.
but he's go ahead, Mark. No, lead him to the water, man. Go ahead. You working your magic here. You do your thing, Mark.
Yeah, go ahead. Continue with your previous statement, though.
But what was his previous statement? Help him out, Mark.
You were saying we were taught. Shit. What did I ask you?
About the QB battle.
Before that,
I asked.
You were asking about the GOAT conversation. Do you see a path to?
Oh, yes. Do you see a path? Yes.
You see a path to where Patrick Mahomes could surpass him as the GOAT?
If Pat Mahomes and Tom Brady, if the Bucks and the Chiefs meet back in the Super Bowl next year, and Pat Mahomes or the Chiefs win, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think Pat Mahomes needed to tie Tom Brady to pass him.
In the amount of Super Bowl wins.
Exactly.
Okay. So that's
because I think Pat Mahomes is a better quarterback than Tom Brady. I think that's pretty clear.
Yes.
So with his upside being so high because he's just now starting off, I feel like there's still a very, very, very small window.
Hold on. Okay. I gotta stop you because you just gave me what the very thing that we've argued over live commentary.
Okay.
You just said Patrick Mahomes is a better quarterback than Tom Brady, which is the only argument that I've ever made.
Okay.
Like, Shawn, am I correct? Is that not the only argument that I've ever made? Is that Patrick Mahomes is a better quarterback than Tom Brady?
He's not a greater quarterback than Tom Brady because
you just said it.
No,
which one is it?
I think we're having two different conversations right now.
I'm having one conversation, and you just said.
Okay, let me.
All right, we need the mediator. We need the mediator.
I'm gonna jump in, okay? Because you were asking. He's talking about. I believe he's speaking about. Correct me if I'm wrong here, Tobias. You're just talking about being a quarterback, his play, but Tobias probably agrees with me that you don't. You have to accomplish things. You have to realize your potential to start coming into this conversation.
No, but here's the thing. Here's the thing that I kept reiterating. I said Tom Brady has all the accomplishments. I cannot deny that.
Let me stop you here because you said time is the only thing. Basically, you're saying it's inevitable. Almost.
No, what I'm saying is give him time. I'm saying time will tell what is to be from here. But what he's able to do versus what player A is able to do versus what player B is able to do. Player A is clearly better than player B, even though player B has all the accolades. Accolades makes player B better. Accolades is the only thing that makes player B better. There's nothing else.
I think there's so much more that goes into it. I feel like you're trying to simplify the conversation, Mark. And I think that's where people have a problem. That's where I have a problem. Because I look at somebody, I'm the biggest Dan Marino fan. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, oh, he'll get there. It'll eventually come to pass. Dan Marino went from being the most prolific passer till if you look at his last 5 or 6 years, he was looking like Eli Manning out there. He was throwing 15 picks. He was throwing under 30 touchdowns a year. People like to forget about Dan Marino's last 5 or 6 years, but those happened, okay? So what I'm saying is as hot as Patrick Mahomes is now, is fast of a start that he's off to now, he could fall off of a cliff.
No, but listen, again, these were all things that had been stated as possibilities. There's a possibility that he finds a 6th gear and somehow is greater than what he is. But I'm not speaking.
You can't say the only thing
I'm not speaking to that. I'm
You can't
speaking.
say time is the only thing that's in between.
Yes, because look, time is the only. Listen, here's the thing. Time, time, time is the only thing because in time we will see if he accumulates injuries. In time we will see if he survives injuries. In time we will see if he has a team. In time we will see if he doesn't have a team like that could support him or not. We will see all these things in time.
It's
But
what's
what we
is
do.
when you need to be specific when you say it though, because when you say time, it's not the same as saying in time we'll see. Do you agree with me on that, Tobias?
Yes.
Okay, well, listen. But here you go. But here's the thing. I broke it down. Like we could go back to the lives. Like you became so indoctrinated to your point that you weren't hearing me. But I kept saying, I'm talking about what he does today versus what this player has ever done skill wise. I've said I was like, you've never seen player B be able to do what player A can do ever, skill wise.
This is my question to you, Mark. What makes Pat Mahomes such a better quarterback than Tom Brady? What makes him such a better quarterback? Why is it so clear?
This
I already know where this is. You him up an alley-oop. I don't know why you did that.
This is an easy question. You just saw it in the Super Bowl. This man ran for 497 yards. He ran for 497 yards and was only sacked twice.
You ain't never seen that stat before in your life.
Because it never happened before in my life. That's why you've never seen it before.
Nobody's never found it until last night.
No. And that has never, I guarantee you, Tobias, and you know it, that has never happened before to where a player was running for his life and only was sacked twice.
I was gonna say we just seen Josh Allen run for his life, and he got sacked more than twice.
Like
I don't know how many yards Josh and Allen ran because, like I said, the first
time it was. I guarantee you wasn't for 497. I guarantee that.
I'm sure it won't. But yeah. Answer the question to what makes Tom Brady what makes Pat Mahomes such a better quarterback?
Okay,
Tom Brady right
now. So listen,
right now,
I can't show you the clip. I can't show you the clips right now, but it will be in the broadcast when I bring it up later. But in the Super Bowl, we watched this man avoid contact endlessly. We watched him throw a ball while being parallel to the ground. Like literally, this is the ground, this is him. Throw it accurately from that position to where it hits his player in the face in the end zone. If said player wasn't such an idiot, that was a touchdown.
You did all that over incompletion.
No, I did more because it's not just that. We watch him what he does throughout his career. You watched when they were in the end zone, the sidearm throw that makes it to Tyreek Hill. Tom Brady can't do that throw. Tom Brady is incapable of that throw. When it comes to running out the pocket and getting the first down. And not only that, but the intelligence to say, I'm only going to take what you're going to give me. I'm not taking any more or any less. If you only give me 8 yards and the first down is 2 yards away from that, if it's not third down, I'm sliding. It's okay. He also has the mental intelligence that Tom Brady has and the understanding of his situation. Like we've seen that throughout his career that he has the complete because I will say this, between Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, it's a push on who's smarter on the field. Patrick Mahomes, as far as intelligence on the field, as far as knowing his situation and what needs to happen, he's right there. We see that in his decision making. He like so he's right there with them in intelligence. But as far as physical gifts, he's better. He far exceeds him. Like that's why. It's and you like that's not hard because it's in every freaking highlight.
Now, Mark, what I will tell you, and see, I was gonna save this for later, but now I gotta bring it up now. And Tobias, I want you to weigh in after I'm done, because Mark, and you're talking about time will tell. This is something that time will tell. I will say this: the two things that I wanted to see from Patrick Mahomes in this game, considering that we're already not putting him, but I think very highly of him. You think very highly of him. You just talked about all the gifts that he has. Usually, it's very rare to see somebody with the physical gifts also have all of the gifts up here. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The decision making, which, Mark, you know me, I have said it multiple times when it comes to point guards, when it comes to QBs. One of the most important skill sets, if you want to call it that, is making the right decisions. Because a quarterback can be as gifted as they want to be. If they make decisions, if they make wrong decisions or a bad decision here or there, that could cost you the game.
Right.
Having somebody on your team that always makes the right decision and they're playing QB, that is paramount. Like I said, I use the example all the time of Chad Pennington having no arm whatsoever, can't do anything. Everything's based on timing. But Chad Pennington was good enough to be a starter in the league for years because that man could make all the right decisions in the world. Okay, so if you're a QB and you can make all the right decisions, that is paramount. He has all the gifts. He makes all the right decisions. He does all these things. But you know what I thought was missing, Mark? Tom Brady. I've never seen a Tom Brady-led team not play with the confidence that not play with the same amount of confidence that they played with during the Super Bowl. Tampa Bay played with confidence that exceeds their skill sets. Okay. Right. I can't sit here and give that credit to Todd Bowles. I can't give that credit to Bruce Arians. As much as I love Bruce Arians, I can't give that credit to those guys because it's only been consistent with Tom Brady teams. Okay, so the intangibles to me is where if somebody was going to sit here and say that Tom Brady is better, then the intangibles have to count. Okay, I didn't see him settle his team at halftime. I didn't see the team settled before the game started. You might say that's the coach's job, and it is, but guess what? If you are a superstar quarterback and you're in that GOAT conversation, guess what? Everybody talks about the Joe Montana situation during the Super Bowl where he points out John Candy in the stands on the game-winning drive, right before the game-winning drive starts, so he could calm everybody down in the huddle. Okay? He has to be more than just a quarterback. He has to be more than just a guy that shows up and does everything right on the field. He has to be the inspiration. And I didn't see that. No, real quick, Mark. Quick. No, Mark.
Repeat that, Shawn. Repeat that, Shawn. You didn't see it in who? You didn't see it in who?
Huh?
You didn't see it in who?
Mahomes.
You didn't see it where?
What I'll tell you is this. Now, on top of that, Mark, see, because I know what you're going to bring up. You can bring up all his little antics. Hey,
no.
All these things. What I'm saying is, it doesn't matter what he does if it's ineffective, Mark.
Little antics. Whoa, time out. Stop.
It does not matter.
Put a pin in it. Because what you're saying right now is incorrect. Because I can literally pull up a highlight right now. I could pull it up right now today where it happened 2 games ago in the AFC Championship when McCole Hartman went to the sideline, put his jacket over his head, was ready to check out the game. He was done. Patrick Mahomes came over directly to him, said, "Pick your head up, get up. I'm making sure that you're good. I'm making sure that you're getting in this game. You're still here."
Where was everybody's head? Because it looked like to me during almost the entirety of the Super Bowl, after they were down 10-0, I believe it was 10-0, whatever it was. The players on the Chiefs sideline look mentally frustrated and defeated a little bit. They
Listen,
look frustrated, look pissed off. I understand the flags. I understand why they were frustrated. What I'm
Okay.
saying is that mental frustration lasted for the rest of the game, Mark. That
Listen.
lasted for the rest of the game.
well, here,
It don't matter how much you down by. It don't matter what the hell's going on in the field. I
listen,
remember watching Tom Brady against the Falcons. They never looked defeated, Mark.
and at no point did the refs the reason why they were out of the game. At
That's
no point,
great. What I'm
at no
saying is
point,
Patrick
at
Mahomes-
no point was there an outside force that was they were only out the game because of what they were doing.
Okay,
There was no outside forces affecting their game.
it doesn't matter, Mark. So Tobias, my question to you, because I want your opinion. Does something like that matter? A quarterback's ability to be beyond great when it comes to something like that, having a mental effect on the entire team on both sides of the ball. Do you think Tom Brady does that?
100. Yeah, 100%.
Sure.
And do you? I've seen real quick.
Sure. No, because I'm gonna stop. Look, no.
I've seen Patrick Mahomes do it, but it didn't happen this time.
Oh, so you've seen him do it 6 times. You've seen him do it 6 times before. One against your shitty ass 49ers. And you gonna sit here and say, he said, well, he didn't do it the 8th time, so that's a problem. Like, dog.
Tell me the first time that a Tom Brady team looked defeated. Because I'm not talking about results. I'm talking about, tell me the last time you've seen a Tom Brady-led team in the Super Bowl look like they were just mentally defeated.
Well,
never seen it.
Never.
You've never seen it with Joe Montana? Shit. You've never. There's only this. We talk about the greatest. Those might be the only two that you can honestly say you've never seen it before with those two. That's it. Everybody else, they've had that happen to them. What I'm saying is, to be fair, if we're gonna be comparing him against these types of greats, then these are the things that I like to see from him. Yes, in time we'll see. In time we'll see how consistent he is with that. But in the biggest moment, he can't have his team out there looking mentally defeated for the rest of the game.
In the biggest moment.
When you talk about Tom Brady, there is a certain level of, believability and that Tom Brady has, because he is the definition of what it is to be a winning quarterback in the NFL. He won 6 championships before he even got to Tampa Bay.
Uh-huh.
And the fact that whenever you go from a team that has these same weapons, well, some of the same weapons, had the Chris Godwin,
Please don't do that. Yeah.
had the Chris Godwin, Cameron Brate, Mike Evans, and they go from a 7-18, what they were last season, to I think 12-4, 13-3 this season.
Whoa!
11,
All right.
11
Can I pause you there?
5.
Can I pause you there? Because I would like to point out that anytime anybody brings up what Tampa Bay was last year, they are the exact same team they were last year.
No, they're not.
They are the exact same team they were last year.
Tom Brady.
Sans Leonard Fournette and Tom Brady. But outside of that, they had 5,000 yards, 30 touchdowns with a terrible quarterback that had 30 interceptions. 30.
Didn't make the play.
Because 30 interceptions.
Because
all you needed was a competent quarterback. You don't need.
They go from that to winning a Super Bowl. How is
Listen.
that not because of Tom Brady? When you pass your team every night at a certain time and say we will win, that is the definition of leadership.
I get that.
That's speaking of Super Bowl into existence right there.
No, listen.
That you're gonna rally behind that because of who your quarterback is.
Listen, I 1,000% understand Tom Brady's mentality, and I will never take that away from him. I will never take that. I will never take Tom Brady's mentality away from him. Never. And Shawn, to you, what you were talking about, well, what you've seen from Tom Brady, you've never seen his team look defeated. Okay. That's cool. But you want to know what I've seen from Tom Brady? I've seen Tom Brady frustrated. I've seen Tom Brady berate his teammates. I've seen Tom Brady slam his helmet on the ground. And I've seen Tom Brady, after a loss, run off the field like a child and not shake a single person's hand.
I'm not sitting here saying he's an honorable man.
No, because I'm speaking to his mentality that I've seen him. You may not have seen it from the team, but I've seen him. I've seen him rattled. I've seen him frustrated, and I've seen him unable to perform.
My question, real quick, Mark, is how are you? I've seen Michael Jordan berate teammates and then have people say that it was the right thing to do for.
No,
so but what I'm saying is it just wrong because he's berating them? Is it wrong because he's yelling at him, or is it wrong? Why is it wrong? Because
well, let me ask you this:
look, you do light a fire under a player's ass.
Okay, so here, well, this leads to an even greater conversation because that's a fair question. But how is it right for Tom Brady to do it? But when it comes to Jay Cutler. When Jay Cutler is grabbing his teammates by the face mask, it's a problem. Like what you
talking about here?
So it's just who's doing it?
No, Mark. See, well, maybe you got to play this, but you know how I am, Mark. Like, if it's what's needed at the time, it's all situational. You know what I mean? The times when I see Tom Brady berate his teammates, do I think it's the cool thing to do? Like, hey man, maybe you shouldn't berate your teammates. Look, the way I see it is they respect him. If they know what ass chewing is coming from Tom Brady, then they're gonna straighten up. If Tom Brady had Jay Cutler's career, then I would have a problem.
Okay.
But because he has the cachet, and I know that if he goes and berates them, that they'll listen. Then that's okay with me. To me, it matters. It does matter somewhat who does it, but it has nothing to do with the person. It has to do with the cachet that comes behind doing it. The reason why people was letting Jordan berate him is because of what he has accomplished. Okay, so that does matter when it comes to situations.
So you're saying it's okay if Tom Brady told his teammates, "You're not eating tonight."
Come on, man. That's beyond berating, dog. We're not doing that. I'm telling you right now, you would have had to catch a fade on the airplane, bro. But that's not. I have a problem with some of the stuff that Jordan did. The question is, did it make Horace Grant play better? No, Horace Grant left, man. So that's a scenario where it wasn't the right thing to do. So yes, it's different. It's a difference between berating somebody and saying, "Hey, yo, you playing like ass tonight," and literally tell them they can't eat. There's a window somewhere.
If Tom Brady came to me and was like, "Yo, you need to be playing better. It's time for you to suck it up." All right, you know what? Cool. It's Tom Brady.
That's stop. Because that's not what Tom Brady's saying.
That's kind of nice, Mark.
That's not what Tom Brady's saying. So you better stop that. Like, no, Tom Brady is coming over to you. Hey, you pussy ass big motherfucker. You better get your ass up.
I'll look at Tom Brady up and down, but I'm getting to him. Me and Jay Cutler will fight.
Hey, this motherfucker Tobias probably be like, "Ooh, we gonna talk after the game,but I'll do
after the game. We listen. We gonna have a conversation.
Yeah,
me and Jay Cutler, I probably steal him right.
Thank you.
Who are you to be talking to me like this?
like, thank you.
Who are you? You know better than the backup quarterback right now. Listen, this is not like this. We're not having this conversation.
No. But go ahead though. But. Yes, to your point, Mark, I'll give you that. Patrick Mahomes has done it in enough situations before now to where I believe that is a trait that he carries.
Okay.
I don't know if it's like today, like this past Super Bowl showed me that it wasn't as effective or as potent as I once thought. And that's the only thing. It's not. I'm not saying I'm just saying that just boom, like he's a little bit below Tom Brady.
But listen, when you say that, I just wanted to clear that up because you said it as if that's not something that he's already displayed. And I wanted to clear that up as he's displayed it 1,000
Clear
times.
things up. I wasn't trying to say that he's never done it. I'm just trying to say that wasn't apparent in the Super Bowl.
Okay.
And it's kind of a big spot for it not to be.
But it was apparent in the Super Bowl, just not this one. Because it was apparent in the last one.
This one, Mark. We talking about
but I'm talking about the last one. So
like this whole episode is supposed to be about this one.
Well, this whole episode is about Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady.
Okay, that's fine.
So,
well, let's talk about
but listen.
What have you done for me lately?
But no, listen. Honestly.
Yeah. Let's dig into the game.
Because honestly, and we can leave this here from here. Because Tobias pretty much conceded already. We could
so they try to put that in there like that also.
No, but like what we could do is honestly is that you do you think if you flipped, like you just plucked Tom Brady in just in this game, if you plucked Tom Brady, put him on the Chiefs, and plucked Patrick Mahomes, put him on the Bucks, do you think anything would have changed?
Of course.
I can't take this dude.
Am I the liar? It would be Tom Brady probably would have got sacked 10 times.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Cool. That's the change. Like
that's the change.
And 10 is giving them credit for being able to get the ball out on time because that's I
don't know. Yeah, Tom Brady's going nowhere the way Shaq Barry and JPP and Dominic Sue was chasing Petro. It wouldn't have been.
Okay, so we're all on the same page. So you cannot say, well, in the position where he needed it most, he wasn't able to do it because we are all on the same page. Hold on. We are all on the same page of Patrick, if you plucked just the quarterbacks, it would have been even worse.
Yeah.
But that you didn't. So what are we talking about for real?
Well, we're talking about why you somehow think his performance knocks him down a grade.
Yeah. Like, I don't understand you.
I didn't necessarily think it was going to be enough for Patrick Mahomes to overcome the win necessarily. But damn it, give me a touchdown at least.
He gave you 3 of them.
He gave me 3.
He gave you 3. He gave you 3.
He gave me 3 what?
He gave you 3 touchdowns because there are 3 highlights where like, so, there's 3 highlights and it went just like this. Like, so what do you do?
3 incompletions is what you're talking about.
Okay, so
is it 3 incompletions or is it not? Mark, that's all I'm asking. Like, there's this if and a but about.
No, there's not. No, Mark. No, Tobias, because this is where we are now. This is where we are. Thank you, because you just put yourself in check and you don't realize it yet. But feel free to clear it up. Go ahead, Shawn.
Tobias.
Right.
Name me one. Shit, I would say 3, but name me one play where you thought Patrick Mahomes made a mistake. Yeah, brother.
I would honestly have to rewatch the game.
Once again, but this is my point. This is the point.
Okay.
I don't think he made any mistakes. I don't think he made any bad decisions or any mistakes. If you look at the interceptions, they were both because of the wide receivers not responding properly to the ball. You know what I'm saying? Like when a wide receiver tips a ball or something like that happens, like that is out of the power of the QB. Okay. So even his interceptions, now whether he got no touchdowns, if he got people dropping touchdowns, if the balls are literally hitting people in the face, then that's an accurate pass. Those 2 scrambles in that one drive where he's falling down and throwing the ball hit the pylon. I don't know if there's a better pass that you can make in the corner of the end zone than the ball hitting the pylon. And then the other guy getting hit in the face. Like, he literally played as perfect as he could, and this was the results. And if you really look at it, he himself combined for over 300 yards.
No,
No,
a lot of that was garbage, yo. A lot of that was garbage yards.
that's fine. We'll call it garbage time yards. But the point is this. The point is this. He literally played as perfect as you could possibly play given the circumstances in that game.
Listen, I guess for me, from the dialogues that we had about Patrick Mahomes, excuse me for thinking that he would do something a little bit better.
Excuse you for thinking that he would be every player on the team?
What you mean be every player on the team?
Hey,
because that's what you're saying right now. You will require him to be the listen. And no, but I'm gonna get to my point of where you put yourself in check, because Tobias is a Baltimore Ravens fan.
Yes.
Tobias also is a fan of Lamar Jackson.
Big trust, of course.
Tobias also has gotten into plenty of arguments, as I know, with Lamar White about Lamar Jackson.
Thanks.
Okay. And Tobias' argument with Lamar White is that he cannot both throw the ball and catch it.
Exact words. I'm just saying he ain't got nobody to throw it to. That's not like Pat Mahomes don't have nobody to throw it to now.
But he threw it to them and they dropped the balls. What do you want them to do? What do you want them to do about that?
What are you talking about?
I think this is more on my boy Devin White, of course. You know that.
When Tyreek Hill had the ball come straight to him and you can see him whiff and it goes right through his hands and hits him in the face mask. Is that Patrick? Maybe Patrick Mahomes should have took a little steam off of it. Maybe he threw it too hard for him to catch that one. I don't know what the bias. You tell me what he did wrong.
Where was Patrick Mahomes' fault in that?
You know what, Mark? I think he gets the point, Mark.
Yo, you can tip your king over and just call it mate.
Listen,
I mean, it's cool.
That, but at the end of the day, it's still an incomplete pass. Because y'all are sounding like Pat Mahomes actually completed those passes.
No, I know. No, but we're
they need to be placed.
Yes, because what you're doing is the opposite. You're saying Patrick Mahomes threw an incomplete pass. No, Patrick Mahomes threw a perfect pass. The receiver didn't catch it. Let's call a spade a spade. Because what you're trying to do is put these incomplete passes as knocks on Patrick Mahomes, where none of the fault lies on his side of the ball.
So y'all telling me Pat Mahomes deserves no fault in their loss Sunday?
I'm not saying that.
That's the question.
I'm not saying that.
Okay. Well, I will ask you this.
I want to
if you believe that, Tobias, where is his fault?
I'm not sure if I believe that or not.
Okay.
Okay. So why are you asking me a question you don't even believe?
Okay. This is a perfect time for me to speak again.
Okay.
Because this is another thing where I thought Mark wouldn't like this. I'm gonna tell you another thing that great QBs do when shit isn't working. I mean, this year we had reports of Aaron Rodgers doing this shit last year and this year, where he just said sometimes he just ignores the fucking play calls from at the floor. He's like, just gonna ignore that play call. Don't like it. I'm gonna run with what I want to do. You know, and every great quarterback does that in times of need. They take over the play calling, where they make their audibles and they make the adjustments when they can see that things aren't working. If they're respectful, they go to the coach or the play caller, whoever the play caller is, and they let them know, hey, man, this is what I think we should do. And I feel like, correct me, maybe somebody disagree with me or something, but I feel like he's done enough in Kansas City to where he can do that. He could go to Andy Reid, and Andy Reid is a nice enough coach. He could go to Andy Reid, Eric Bieniemy, and say, look, man, this is what I'm seeing out there. Okay.
All right.
Mark, I told you how I felt about them trying to run all these screens and throw to the flats when clearly that shit was covered, right? I told you how I didn't like the fact that they were the routes that they were choosing for Tyreek Hill was all the underneath stuff, even though he was being followed and trailed and double covered underneath. I told you about how I felt like the play calling was really horrible for the fact that they didn't try to go with a bigger set or block the running back or try to find a way to where you can get a max protect playoff and take a streak, a shot downfield. They did it maybe once the entire game with Tyreek Hill. These are all things that Patrick Mahomes should have the power to do in a game of this magnitude, and I felt like he was being a good soldier and rolling with the play calling. And that, my friend, is where I think he needs to grow.
Well,
because he absolutely should have been taking over that play calling.
Well, here's the thing, Shawn. Here's the thing.
Tobias.
No,
I agree with you, but I think he gets there eventually.
No,
he will get there eventually. He's young.
No,
I get it,
but
that's what I'm saying. So I'm not going to be too hard on him about it. But these are the differences of the things. If you want to talk about, I talked about what Patrick Mahomes does better than Tom Brady. These are the things that Tom Brady does that would put him. That would even the odds, if you will.
Well, here's the thing about that, Shawn.
Go ahead.
Because what we have seen in the past, Patrick Mahomes, we have seen him in the past wave off the punt team. We have seen him say like, "Nah, this is happening right here. We're doing this." We've seen that. So. But
we know that he can. He has the ability to do it.
So here's the thing. We've already established that there was no fault on his part, and that we've established that 3 plays, there's at least 3 touchdowns in this game because they landed in the end zone where they were supposed to, and all that. So I'm not saying this is like, yes, there are things that should have changed in this game. And we will talk about that later.
Yes.
Because there are things that should have changed from the coaching side. But what I will say this is maybe Patrick Mahomes, what he saw was, I'm watching guys that I've never seen drop a ball like at this rate before. Drop balls that are hitting them in the face. In the end zone, and they're dropping third downs. They're dropping crucial balls that he's never seen before. So maybe he's like, while playing, there's no fault in the game plan. I'm seeing faults in the players, and this will change.
Now, this is what I'll even add to this, Mark, because you're making my point for me.
Yeah, I agree.
He's lived on the edge for so long. Last year, they came back from a deficit in every playoff game, okay? At some point, you can't just continue to live on the edge and expect that you'll pull it out.
No, you can't.
You have to start preparing. So, yes, those third downs were crucial. What about the plays before where he's scrambling and he throws it away, or he throws this away, or this was supposed to be open and it wasn't, and he has to run for 5 yards over here? Like, those plays are the ones that I expected him to change because those are the reasons why he ended up in these crucial third downs.
See, I'm not
putting it all on him. To be honest, but to be very clear, the play calling debacle, I'm gonna put 80% on the coaches.
It's more
20% of that. If he would have used his 20% to change the plays, the game could have came out different.
Now, in that, I will say this. Yes, you are correct in that the game would have came out different if he did this, that, and third. But and you are also correct that when you it's like if you were playing a video game and you've been beating everybody by mashing buttons. Like if you've been beating everybody by mashing buttons, you will never truly understand what needs to change because you've been beating everybody by mashing buttons.
It's been working out.
Yeah,
What you doing has been working out.
yeah.
Gotcha.
So until the one time that it doesn't, then you like basically you can only judge him if he continues down this path. If that continues to happen and he doesn't like, yo, I'm cutting shit short.
Yeah.
Like if that continues, then we could judge him off of that. But off of the first time, this was the first time he ever seen it, and this is the first time he ever seen his teammates not show up. So him like a good teammate was like, I'm going to keep giving you the ball and expect you to do what I know you can do.
And what I'm saying is, it's a gift and a curse. It's a double-edged sword.
No, but
him being a good teammate and him believing in his players and him doing all these things is the reason why his brain would never go there.
Right. But no,
that an arrogant quarterback like Aaron Rodgers wouldn't give a fuck if he was his third.
No, but no, listen, listen. But here's the thing: what you're talking about is if what you're talking about, any quarterback that has experienced that level of success, this early will go through the exact same thing. It like it may not, and it just so happened that it happened on the biggest stage.
Yeah,
but any quarterback. In fact, we've seen, like, I guarantee you, if we go back to the beginning years, we've seen games where Tom Brady went through that. I guarantee you that happened because because what you're talking about is something that is going to come with time.
No, it will. I'm not disagreeing with that.
Like,
what I'm
so
saying
like, I can't hold
something that was needed he didn't have at that time. Is it something? Is it really his fault that he is? Is it because of some form of neglect?
Yeah,
that's why he didn't have that. No, but I'm telling you is, I have to. Just the same reason why I can't say that Tom Brady is less of an athlete than Patrick Mahomes, and it's his fault. It's not his fault. It's not his fault that he didn't have this experience. It's not Tom Brady's fault he's not athletic. What I'm saying
is Tom Brady's fault that he could be more athletic. He cannot be Patrick Mahomes athletic, but he could be more athletic.
I think Tom Brady is in better shape than any other 43, 44-year-old quarterback that I ever seen. So I don't know why you're telling me that he could be more of an athlete, Mark.
Possibly.
So
we don't know.
You know where his starting point was. This man run a 5'1" 40 or some shit. Come on, man. You know where his starting point was. You're not gonna do this. But what I'm saying is the same way that's not Tom Brady's fault. It's not Patrick Mahomes. It's not anything that Patrick Mahomes isn't doing that caused him to go down that route of thought process, Mark. Mm-hmm. But I believe he will learn from it. But I'm saying it's something that he didn't have on this day.
Right.
It is something that is one of the reasons why it didn't work out.
No, that's fair.
He wouldn't have to use that if his coaches would have done their damn job.
Or he wouldn't have. His coaches wouldn't have had to do their damn job, even though they would have still been at fault had the players caught the balls. But
yes, like I said, everybody has to make adjustments when they're playing, and that's an adjustment that wasn't made by the coaching staff and by the players.
That's fair.
So I don't want to stay on this too long, but some thoughts.
Yeah, just real quick. I'm glad you brought up Shawn. I'm glad you brought up the fact of them always being down in a situation in these playoff games, because it kind of it's like an air of cockiness. Because even I thought in the game last night, even when they was down,
thought they was gonna make a run.
I'm thinking there's still time for them to make a run, and then when it didn't come, I was like, oh shit, damn, these niggas look pretty human. So I pray that they learn that you can't just be down in a game of this magnitude and think you're just gonna come back every time. Now, I hope that Pat Mahomes, the leader that I know, that I hope that he's going to be, doesn't make sure that they don't be in that situation again.
Yes, and real quick, and to make a point about it, because it never was a point that I wanted to make until they just lost their Super Bowl. And if you really think about it, he could be 0-2 in Super Bowls right now if the Niners didn't help him out. Right. He still would have made a run to come back.
Right.
But if we would have scored once, shit. If Jimmy G would have hit what's his name on that open pass, what Depot Samuel, whatever. Like if he would have not missed him on an open touchdown, then that would have, if he would have kept running. There's a bunch of things that happened that we did to shoot ourselves in the foot that allowed him to do what he does. You know what I'm saying? He could have done exactly what he did in that game, and the running game could have, their running backs could have done exactly what they did in that game, and they still would have lost if we would have handled our business. So hopefully it sucks that they should have learned from that situation. But by that time, it was the fourth time in the playoffs, it was the third time in the playoffs that they had done it. By that time, they have confidence in that. And yes, you're right. There's a little bit of arrogance that goes with that, but I don't fault players for arrogance because it's the NFL, and I understand if you ever played football, any type of organized football, you understand what type of mindset you got to be in to play the sport. So I don't ever hold that against the players, but the coaching staff, that's my problem when it comes to the arrogance stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
But Mark, I'm sure you want to get into that now. So.
Yeah. So I want to end this with this. If you're building, I'm going to end this conversation with this. Tom Brady is the GOAT. Patrick Mahomes is a better player. That's where I stand. And I'm going to ask you this. If you are building your team, you're building your dynasty team, you can have any combination of players ever. Are you taking Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady as your quarterback?
Mark, you gonna make me say it.
Hey, throw up and get it over with. Give us the answer, dog. Whatever.
I'm picking Pat Mahomes.
Thank you. Checkmate.
Mark, you have not proved a damn thing because I never argue who was the better quarterback. I argue who was the greatest.
But I've never argued the greatest. I've never argued the greatest.
Two different things. Like we've been arguing two different things. Then
you just never been hearing me, and now I've put you to a place where you have to hear me.
But I think, but Tobias,
greater in the same conversation.
Yeah. Okay, Tobias. See this whole dilemma that y'all just went through. This is why I have recently made, like I said, I talked about it once or twice. I have two different categories: the best to ever do it, and the best I've ever seen. Tom Brady is the best to ever do it,
right?
Because it involves actually doing it.
Right.
The best that I've ever seen is Patrick Mahomes, and it's not close. The second best, and get this, the second best that I've seen would probably be Aaron Rodgers. And then after that, I'm talking about Peyton Manning.
Oh, I want to know. I want to hear what Mark got to say on this.
I don't know where
Listen, I can't. I even with Aaron Rodgers' physical gifts,
he knows I hate. He knows I hate.
Even with Aaron Rodgers' physical gifts, I can't put Aaron Rodgers over Tom Brady because, as far as best I've ever seen, because I've watched Aaron Rodgers falter as a quarterback. I've watched him falter as a quarterback more often than I have ever seen Tom Brady falter as a quarterback. And the reason why I have Patrick Mahomes over Tom Brady as a quarterback is because we just watched his entire team around him falter and he still be great. We watched everybody from coach to wide receiver to offensive line.
Tobias, you all right, man?
We watched everybody fall apart around him. Like, Doug, listen. I know I'm saying what, Tobias, I know I'm saying what I'm saying, but in every point that I'm making, you've already conceded when I've talked about it. it's like it's just like hearing it back. It's like hearing it back when you talking about somebody that lost a game. It sounds rough. I know, it sounds rough when you talking about somebody that lost a game, but when you break it down and you break down the film, you can't say that quarterback wasn't everything he was supposed to be. You can't say that. But I've seen Aaron Rodgers not live up to the task. I've
I give you
seen
that.
I've seen Tom Brady once or twice not live up to the task. He just did it less often than Aaron Rodgers has.
And
Like,
Aaron Rodgers, the only reason why I give him so much credit is because outside of Patrick Mahomes and Russell Wilson, because those are the only two guys that I feel are in that category. When you talk about an improviser, like when Aaron Rodgers improvises, it turns into 25-yard plays or touchdowns.
right.
It's
Like,
crazy. It's crazy. Like Patrick Mahomes to improvise and throw a 10 or 15 yarder. Like if you got Aaron Rodgers improvising, that shit might be a touchdown. You got to be careful.
like
You know what I'm saying?
here's
That balances out for me. That balances out his faults. But
here's
I have no problems with the way that you see things though. Like
here's an example of Russell Wilson is more physically gifted than Tom Brady. But I'm going to say Tom Brady is still a better quarterback because I've never seen Tom Brady become one-dimensional. I've never seen Tom Brady ever throw to just one person and that be that. But I watched Russell Wilson do it. I watched Russell Wilson forget that all his other receivers exist and just go to one person.
I watched Russell Wilson not wave off the pass play on the goal line in the Super Bowl.
Exactly. I've seen Russell Wilson not.
I don't get it.
I've seen Russell Wilson not take do the right quarterback things. Even though Russell Wilson is more physically gifted, I've seen him not do the right quarterback things enough to where, regardless of your physical gifts, Tom Brady is a better quarterback than you. I can't say that about Patrick Mahomes.
I can give you that. Okay.
I get that. I agree with that.
All right. That was a good conversation, man. I like that one.
All right. So, moving on. Now that we got that quarterback stuff out the way, let's actually talk about the Super Bowl. This thing was egregious. This was insane. It was a blowout. Shout out to Tampa Bay and everybody that lives there. I actually have people that live in Tampa Bay. Shout out to Lindell and Cedric if you're listening. What up, bro? How you doing? I'm glad y'all celebrating your Super Bowl. But man, there's some things to talk about, man. And let's just start with the first half. Let's break this down into a game of halves. What did you guys see in the first half of this Super Bowl?
Go ahead, Tobias.
No. You go, Shawn. You go.
Okay, first off, let's start at the coin toss. The Chiefs. We're gonna talk about this arrogance, Tobias. The Chiefs won the coin toss, and they decided to defer their decision, which means they're saying, "Look, we won a coin toss. Y'all decide which. Okay, fine, cool. We'll kick the ball." So it's like they gave their decision to Tampa Bay on whether or not they wanted to kick or receive.
Yeah, I missed that. That's crazy.
So they deferred. And me and Mark talked about this last week on the episode. I said both of these teams are slow starting teams. And I said I expected to be a slow start. I expected to be a 14-10 game at halftime. I thought that Kansas City would be down 10-14 just because I thought they start slower than Tampa Bay. And I'm like, yo, if you know that this is what you guys do in the playoffs, you guys always coming back from a deficit. You always starting slow, and you're not playing against Jimmy G. You know what I'm saying? You're playing against Tom Brady. I don't understand in what world you decide to kick it other than a world of, and I hate this because I believe this is where it came from. You know what? We're going to show our defense that we're confident in them. You know what I'm saying? We're going to show them that we believe in them. That shit's for the birds. Because guess what happened? That led them down the path of, which, Mark, I'm going to bring up I hate to skip forward, but the desperation of calling the timeouts on the Tampa Bay drive, thinking that they could get a quick stop so they could get another score.
Mm-hmm.
You don't feel that desperation if you're not already down 21-3. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So part of their issues started early when they deferred. So I feel like you just giving your team less time to get heated up whenever you defer. And like I said, to me, it played out exactly how I thought the first half would play out, except for the fact of Tampa Bay's defense going crazy. But it almost played out exactly the way I thought it would. And the Chiefs, they decided not to run, Mark. That's another notable thing. They decided they didn't want to run the ball in the first half.
Mm-hmm.
The only runs came from Patrick Mahomes on broken down pass plays.
Mm-hmm.
So you have CEH, you know what I'm saying? Or excuse me, you have Edwards-Helaire, you have Le'Veon Bell. Why do you have these guys on your roster? Darrell Williams, you got these guys on your roster for what? Like, why did you draft a running back if this is what you were going to do? So,
may I interrupt you for a second?
Go for it.
Was Le'Veon Bell hurt?
I know he was hurt, but I thought he recovered during the off time.
Because he didn't play.
Yeah, which is like I said, but if you look at the game, like it doesn't matter because they were going to use his ass anyway.
Well, I figured they would. I mean, weren't they using him as a wide receiver?
Who? Le'Veon?
Yeah, weren't they using him?
They use him a little bit with some stuff, but the biggest thing to me is he can block and he can run.
No, absolutely. No, but continue. I wanted to clear something up for myself.
I'm gonna look up to see what his status was for the game.
Okay, no, but continue your point. Look that up after Tobias.
Yeah. So the point is they didn't want to run the ball, right? They deferred, and then their offensive line from the opening two drives wasn't holding up, and I felt like they're slow starting. Usually Andy Reid and his coaching staff they'll figure something out right before halftime. I said usually it's that 6-minute mark in the second quarter that they start to figure things out, and then they barely pulled off that drive. You know what I'm saying? And they barely pulled off that drive to get a field goal.
Okay.
Barely pulled that drive off. And that drive was not what I expected because, like I said, it was barely. I mean, it took some miraculous third down plays from Patrick Mahomes and his receivers for it to happen. So already I could see that there was a problem with adjustments. There was a problem with the offensive line. There was a problem with the game plan, especially when if you're only down 10-0, you should be still running the ball. And all these things. And then when I look on the other side of the ball, Mark, Tampa Bay. They paid enough attention to running the ball that they needed to. They started throwing to the running backs out the gate. They were throwing to, I think Cameron Brate even got a catch. Like they're throwing to the tight ends. Tom Brady's throwing to everybody. Even on their failed drives, Tampa Bay's game planning was exactly what it should have been. The defensive game planning, hey, we're going to rush 4 and see what we get. Look at it. We hit the jackpot. You know what I'm saying? We're getting in there, so we're not going to change that. It's working. It ain't broke, don't fix it. But they came in with the right game plan, right? And then you look at the Chiefs on defense, and they were non-existent. All that tough play, all that tough cornerback and tough safety play, the fired up players that we saw against the Bills, they were not fired up in this game. They were not fired up. They were not everywhere. They were not covering anybody. So immediately you could see the differences, and I felt like it was just defensive game planning because every time I looked at Tampa Bay, I was like, whoever they're throwing to, they're wide open. So clearly, first half, I just saw a team getting out coached, and they weren't. I wouldn't say they were completely getting outplayed yet as far as effort, but it was starting to look like it. So, what do you guys got?
All right, Tobias.
Yeah. Quick. Honestly, from the first drive of Tampa Bay's, it looked like Tampa Bay was the more prepared team.
Yes.
Absolutely. Like you were saying, Mark. Like you were saying, Shawn. They getting balls to Leonard Fournette, establishing the run game, getting it to the tight ends. They look like the more prepared team from their first drive. And it kind of shook me a little bit because I'm thinking, okay, Kansas City is about to come down here and strike right back, but that wasn't the case. Tampa Bay, what's my man? Tabo's put in the perfect defense for this game. It honestly, it shocked me of how.
Well, it didn't shock me because he called the perfect defense for the previous game against Green Bay.
Okay,
but continue.
Yeah. But yeah, there was nothing that Kansas City could possibly do with them from the first two drives of their offense and defense. Like it for me, it just seemed like Tampa Bay was definitely the more prepared team. So yeah, that's pretty much what I got out of it. They just looked better from the very beginning, in my opinion.
Okay. That's what you got? All right. What I have is the story of the first half was incompetence. It was incompetence, it was arrogance, and it was collusion.
Here we go.
Go ahead.
Listen. In all honesty, the collusion part is a joke, but but it feels like collusion. It truly does. Because in this game, I talked to you, Shawn. We like we'll start with the arrogance part because it does start with the coin flip. The coin flip and you allowing this team to get the ball first. Okay. Why would
let's Tom Brady get into it?
why would you allow this team that has Mike Evans, Antonio Brown, Chris Godwin, and Leonard Fournette to get on the field first and gain a rhythm? Why wouldn't you want to put that team on their heels? Now here's the thing about that. Because I will say this. Their arrogance it seemingly worked out because they 4-and-out them the first drive. They were going. They did it twice actually. Now,
yeah, two punts in the beginning of the game.
Yeah, they did it twice, 2 punts in the beginning of the game. So fair enough. Okay, so your defense seemed like they was there to play. So what was seemingly arrogant to me, maybe it wasn't, but the arrogance definitely lies in from the very beginning. And this is something I warned and I said I don't like it, and in my head I didn't want to say it, but I said this is a dangerous situation, but I said to myself this will cause the Chiefs to lose. Was the offensive line. And on the previous episode, I said I don't like it. This is dangerous. You should not do this. This is stupid. This is flat out dumb. I've said that. I've said everything but this will cause the Chiefs to lose because I didn't want to speak that into existence. But in my head, I was feeling that way because it makes zero sense. And Tobias, I'm not sure if you listened to the last episode, and those that didn't listen to the last episode and are unaware, um, the Chiefs' offensive line, they in fact in our live when Eric Fisher went down, I said I was like that's going to be a problem come Super Bowl. I said Eric Fisher going down may be a problem come Super Bowl. Now I'm going to let you know something. The Chiefs, the Chiefs record with Eric Fisher in the lineup, 29-1. The Chiefs record with Eric Fisher out of the lineup, 3-3. They are 50. They are 50% with Eric Fisher out the lineup. Now, here's where the arrogant part comes in. This is how they presented their offensive line for the Super Bowl. They took the backup right tackle because they lost their right tackle in week 6.
Mm-hmm.
So the backup right tackle who has been starting since week 6, they moved him to left tackle, moved the right guard to right tackle, and put in a backup at right guard. So you literally you go into the Super Bowl with 3 people playing outside of their normal position.
Yeah, just real quick. Playing guard and playing tackle is like playing 2 totally different.
It is 2 different.
It's two different positions. Playing left tackle and playing right tackle is
It's
2
different.
different positions. Like for those that don't know and say, "Well, right tackle, left tackle, what's the difference?" It's for some because there are some players who are able to switch. Like Lane Johnson can flip flop all day, but there are a lot of offensive linemen. It's like for most offensive linemen, it's like asking them to write with their opposite hand because you have to when you step off, you are leading off with the opposite foot. You have to move a guy the opposite direction. Everything is awkward and different from what you're used to. And if you have been playing at right tackle, even if you're a universal tackle, if you have been playing at right tackle for the last 10 weeks, well, actually, 13 weeks.
Yeah.
If you've been playing at right tackle for the last 13 weeks, and then they say move, even if you've played this position before, that first game is going to be really awkward. It's going to be really, really awkward. It's going to take you 2 games before you start to feel comfortable in that position. So I don't understand what they were doing there. You literally had 3, instead of just having one guy, because your left tackle went out, instead of putting just a backup in at left tackle and just having one guy being the odd duck, you now made 3 guys the odd duck unnecessarily.
Quick question, Mark. I want to bring it back to you. Offensively, why was Eric Fisher such a major loss for the Kansas City offense?
Well, offensively, Eric Fisher, it's the same. It's the same as any time that you lose your blind side. You're like he's your blind side, and any time that you lose your blind side tackle, it's going to be a problem. When it comes to, and particularly when it comes to a left tackle and somebody that's been there for a while, you develop a chemistry. You develop a pocket presence of knowing where to be, what his timing is. Like so, like
things like what Patrick Mahomes likes to do when
exactly like which way Patrick Mahomes is going to roll.
We've seen it real quick. We've seen a lot of times where you see quarterbacks trip over their offensive linemen. You've seen them where they get their feet stepped on. This is all part of just time with the quarterback and knowing each other and having that chemistry. You can't. There's nothing to replace that chemistry, and you can't just create it without time.
Right. Like, so what you're seeing is, like, with Eric Fisher, he knows Eric can hold this guy, whoever, no matter who it is. I can count to 2 to 3. I can count to 3 in my head, and then I know I gotta figure something out because Eric probably doesn't have that guy anymore. Like, you know what I mean? He can say that to himself. But when it comes to what happened last night, jailbreak, and it's taking off. Like you can't prepare for that. So it's a different field. Like, now, so you already dealing with that problem from left tackle, but now you made it a problem at right tackle and right guard. And what we saw was
the right side.
What we saw was from the right side, JPP and Shaq Barrett, woof, like they were flying in, and they were going to eat. And I said to myself, I said to Shawn, actually, I said, I wonder what will happen when they come through and they can't get to Patrick Mahomes, and they're frustrated. And that, for the most part, did happen. They was coming through, getting there. He's not there anymore. And, like, you have to chase him, find him where he's at. He gets rid of the ball, whatever. Or he runs away from you and he gets a first down. Mind you, he had, 40 yards, 45 yards rushing?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So he had 45 yards.
34 of it in the first half.
Yeah. He had 45 yards rushing on turf toe. He's getting surgery tomorrow.
Yeah.
45 yards rushing, turf toe. Surgery is tomorrow. Like, we're talking about, you see, like, I know this dude's dick has been far down my throat, but like, but listen, listen, man. I'm just saying, dog. You've seen this dude play through crazy shit, and I'll call myself out.
That
man.
shit was completely unnecessary. But go ahead.
I'll call myself out. I don't have a problem to say that. I'll call myself out.
Go ahead.
But anyway, like, we've seen, like, on turf toe, 45 yards. Had somebody just decided they wanted to catch a ball, anyone, like, we are talking about being able to chip away at the defense's confidence. If anybody decided that they wanted to catch a ball at any point, but this team was allowed to still be high revved because nobody wanted to catch. Like, so we don't know if anything would have changed mentally for Tampa Bay's defense, given the situation.
And I can see that kind of happening with Kansas City's defense, because the holding penalty, very tic-tac, very like, and that would in a drive like that would completely drain the confidence out of a defense.
It killed them.
Right. And the thing was the pass interference where dude tricked them, little tic-tac, but I think you got to throw that.
No, you have to throw that one. You have to, even though it was a mistake. You have to throw it.
Yeah, but yeah, penalties like that will drain the life out of any type of defense. But yeah.
So, and that's so what we saw on Kansas City side was the defense get drained. But we, like, had anybody wanted to catch on for Kansas City offense, we may have seen Tampa Bay's defense slowly get drained. But we didn't see that because nobody wanted to catch at all. Now, to the collusion part, which you're already bringing up, this game, there are articles written about the amount of penalties in this game. In this game, there were six penalties that led that would have been a punt that led to a first down in the first half. In the first half of the game. In total of any game ever before this, 4. That was the high before this game was 4. In this game it was 6. And it was only in the first half.
That's crazy.
Like, that's insane.
Crazy.
And especially when you're talking about the interception play and they're gonna call holding where basically he never, like, you never see him grab him once. He's playing the guy. He's playing
what
Mike
I did
Evans.
see was Mike Evans do a hell of a push off.
Yes, we saw Mike Evans push off of him, but you didn't see him grab him once.
But one of the reasons why I bring up the push off is that if you're going to allow the push off, then that means you're allowing contact.
Right.
The defender has to be able to defend themselves in that way. So even if he would have grabbed them on the push off, you just have to make it a no call.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. So we watched when the momentum builder from the interception was there. You took that away.
Yeah, go.
And then they get the situation from the coach's standpoint of where the coach is done, where they forced the field goal or whatever. And this player, here comes the surprise, Shawn. This player who was offsides, he was far offsides. He was far offsides. He causes the penalty. That's a fair penalty. That is a fair.
I said that was a fair penalty.
That's a fair penalty. Do you guys want to know who that was?
Who was it?
McCole Hartman.
I really don't like that guy, Mark. I really don't, man. I really don't like him at all. But that's
yo, this is the player that everybody says, well, they got Tyreek Hill, they got Travis Kelce, they got McCole Hartman. McCole Hartman isn't good. He's just on a good team, dog. Like,
and he happens to be fast.
Yes, McCole Hartman is fast. But
hey, Mark, McCole Hartman is John Ross.
Essentially.
Yeah.
I can agree.
Like, dog, like McCole Hartman is the king of fucking up a special teams play. Like, dog, this dude will fuck up a special teams play. He did it last year. He did it this year. He did it twice this year. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So, but anyway.
Fucking McCole.
So there's a question I want to ask about Tampa Bay's defense and what adjustments the Chiefs' offense should or could have made.
Okay, that's very easy. Was there more to that question?
No. That was the question.
Okay, that's very easy to answer. What they could have done was run the damn ball, because Clyde Edwards-Helaire had 64. He has 64 yards rushing.
9 carries.
On 9 carries. He was 7 yards. He was on a 7-yard average. 7-yard average.
He opened the second half running twice for 35 yards. And then they sat him and then brought in Darrell Williams. And then after the Darrell Williams play, they decided to hand the ball off to McCole Hartman. So yes. They should have ran the fucking ball.
Like, and when I say run, and here's the thing. This is the problem when you have essentially an Andy Reid team. What we watched in this game was Andy Reid do everything he taught Doug Peterson to do. Like, we really watched that because what you watched was everything that you've seen Doug Peterson do all this year. Bad timeouts. We saw a lack of running the ball, even though running is highly effective. Like, we saw a game plan where there was no adjustment. You just expected everybody to figure themselves out.
Mhm.
Hey, you know what's funny? Real quick, Mark, I just want to interject. Do you know what actually won them the game against the Niners? The last two drives, they ran the ball
Exactly.
right down our throats.
Right down
That's
your
how they
throat.
won the game. That's how they won the Super Bowl last year. Like
Right.
they must have forgot that, I
Yeah.
guess. So
Yeah. Doug, where's Roy Jones where you need him?
yeah.
Because, Doug, I watched this game. Like, this is what I like about this is what I like about the Baltimore Ravens. At no point do they forget to run the ball. Now, some could say it's because they have to, because their wide receivers are trash,
Don't matter.
but it don't matter. They never forget to run the ball. And not only do you run the ball, but see, this is something that is leaving. This is leaving football in general. Don't just run it, but run it at their face. Like, just like punch them in the mouth. What part of the reason why we, the Eagles, beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl is because it's LeGarrette Blount. Not because when it came to all the finesse that we was doing all over the field, LeGarrette Blount, when he came in, he punched you right in the mouth and was getting them dirty yards. He was getting them nasty dirty yards that would defeat your defense and put them on their heels. You can't come flying in when it's somebody like that. Now let's say, for instance, let's say Tampa Bay was playing. I didn't look exactly to see how their down four linemen were, but let's say they were playing a contained attack, and you can't do that if somebody's coming straight up the middle. You have to guard against that, and your safeties can't be high if somebody is coming straight up the middle. Like, your linebackers can't be following every receiver all over the place if somebody's coming straight up the middle. You have to. That's how you keep teams honest. In this game, at no point did the Chiefs play callers keep these teams honest. And that was a failing on their part. But continuing with the refs conversation, do you know that it was 150 in total in this game? There was 150 yards of offense created by penalties for Tampa Bay Bucks, and it was like I think it was just under 150. It was like something
Ridiculous.
And versus 5.
Yeah, 5.
Versus 5 for the Chiefs. Like, this is where, like, I'm kind of moving around a little bit because we still got to talk. Like, I'm going to just go into the second half, and you guys can talk about the second half if you want. In the second half, like, in the first half, to finish it out, what I saw was another BS penalty on Tyreek Hill. I mean, not on Tyreek Hill, on Tyrann Mathieu, that put them on the 1 yard line. That ball's not catchable. Not only is that ball not catchable, but Mike Evans ran directly into Tyrann Mathieu. It's not like Tyrann Mathieu went and ran into him and engaged him. Tyrann Mathieu is entitled to his space, and if you come towards him, like, he's supposed to move out your way and be like, go ahead, continue on your route so you can catch the ball. No, that's not what's supposed to happen there, dog. Like, he's entitled to his space. And they call that penalty, put them on the 1 yard line, and of course, nobody, and I mean nobody, is Antonio Brown is probably the best route runner ever to exist.
Not covering him one-on-one.
Yeah, like, Antonio Brown is the best route runner ever to exist, period. Outside of Jerry Rice.
I was gonna tell you to watch your mouth, but go ahead. Yeah.
Outside of Jerry Rice, Antonio Brown is the best route runner to exist, period. So when this dude runs that Z, like, you gotta let it, like, anybody's going to get juked on that. And like, And Tom Brady, being a great quarterback, he's going to recognize this window's not there.
Mismatch.
This window's not there very long, and that's a mismatch. As soon as he cuts, I'm throwing the ball because that window didn't stay open. He cut, and Tyron was right back to him. But that's all you need when it's Antonio Brown and Tom Brady. But you would have never been in that position had the penalties not put you there.
You want to talk about the penalty that happened right afterwards?
Oh yeah. Here's another one. Tom Brady decides to go over, say some obscene crap to Tyrann Mathieu, and whether or not how obscene it was obscene enough for Tom Brady to feel the need to text him and apologize. So, because this is a real thing that Tom Brady texts Tyrann Mathieu an apology for what he says on the field. But anyway, he goes over, says some shit to Tyrann Mathieu. Tyrann Mathieu says something back to him. And then Tom Brady runs up on him again, says some more stuff. And guess who got the unsportsmanlike conduct call?
Yeah.
Tyrann Mathieu. Tom Brady runs up on this dude twice. And Tyrann Mathieu gets the call. And you expect a defense to still have energy and motivation after the things they had to endure in that first half from those referees. Like, I said to someone else, it's like the referees were trying to tie their hands behind their back. At some point, the defense was like, well, since you've been trying to do it all day, I'll just put one hand behind my back and leave it there, okay? It was like, well, what can I do? I'm just trying to avoid a penalty at this point. Now, I gave the penalties where they should have been. Like, McCole Hardman is an asshole, but outside of that,
but go ahead.
but yeah, and in the second half, the damage is already done, man.
Yeah.
Like the damage is already done. They're up by multiple touchdowns, and then they come down and score again, and now they're running the ball all over the place because they don't have to. It's now incumbent upon you to score to make us pass. So now they're just wasting clock for the rest of the game. So
Just for the record, real quick, when they were wasting time and the defense knew that these fools would be running, even though it was a must-run, hey, we know they're going to run situation. I believe Leonard Fournette averaged 5.6 yards per carry, and Ronald Jones averaged 5 yards per carry.
Yeah,
unacceptable.
No,
but I believe defense was mentally.
Here's the thing: it's a little bit more than just the defense was defeated mentally. Because at the end of the day, it's still Mike Evans, still Antonio Brown, and still Chris Godwin out there. You can't that's the
keep acting like Gronk ain't out there too, but that's fine.
No, but Gronk had the two times. And that was another thing we talked about in our previous podcast was if Gronk was saving juice for this, then it's a problem. And that's exactly what happened. We seen Gronk come alive in this game.
I've never seen Gronk play as alive in any game this season.
Exactly.
But Tobias, the same exact thing happened in the game, in the AFC Championship game where it was Kansas City versus the Patriots. That last drive, that whole season, Gronk wasn't himself. Mm-hmm. And that last drive, it was like Tom Brady was like, where's Gronk at on the field? I'm just going. And Gronk was making every play. He was out there running. Like, he was out running linebackers and shit. I was like, man, I didn't even know he could move that fast anymore. But like Mark said, if he's saving something, it's for this game, and that's what it looked like. Right. I mean, because he was out there. I mean, his blocking. What was out there blocking?
He was out there doing everything.
He was doing everything.
And that's And that's the problem. Like, so I can't fault the defense for allowing Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones to have those 5 yards per carry because at this point, like I still have to respect all these wide receivers because if I start keying in on these guys, now the score is going to get outlandish very quickly because Mike Evans is going to beat me over the top. Antonio Brown, Chris Godwin, or whatever is going to
And
get.
I will say this is Bruce Arians likes taking his shots. He's not exactly the type of dude that lets his foot off the gas. There's certain coaches that don't let their foot off the gas, and he's one of them. So
Right.
yeah, so I get what you're saying. Like you can't get comfortable with him because he's always looking for that deep shot. You know.
Right. So
Yeah.
I'm going to. I think I covered everything, the major points that happened in this game. Because we talked like the other stuff I talked about in our Patrick Mahomes Tom Brady comparison conversation. Um, like we've seen Patrick Mahomes just play. I don't you just can't expect the quarterback to do anything different than what he did. So like everybody else, like his entire team, like coaches included, owe him an apology. Like that's like I'm being for real. Like they owe him an
Yeah.
apology. Like Doug, I'm sorry. We watched you be great, and none of us could even come close to that.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree because you catch one of those, and the complexion of this game looks so different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's insane.
Remember, they got 3 field goals, in 3 of those field goals happened because at least I believe 2 of them should have been touchdowns.
So
One of them they were a little bit further back, was like
yeah,
a 40-yarder or something, but the other 2 they were close.
yeah, two of those should have been touchdowns, and one of them came off a drop pass by Travis Kelsey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that boy Kelsey didn't. You know what's the wildest stat? Kelsey had 10 catches.
Yeah, still had 10 catches somehow.
He had 15 targets, and all 5 of them joints looked like drops to me, or something or it looked like passes that were broken up because of what he should have been doing.
Yeah.
Because there was at least 2 plays where I saw him going across the middle, and it's like, you know that the linebackers are jumping on the underneath routes. They're trying to get up underneath you. You have to run the route in a way to where you shield the defender off with your body. That's what big receivers do.
Well,
It's what big receivers do.
well, I will say this. There was one third down play in which he caught the ball, but that should have been a pass interference on Tampa Bay. I watched Levante David grab his arm and come around to his back, be over his back before the ball gets to him, and he catches it. But that's still pass interference. It doesn't matter if I catch it. You're not allowed to be. I'm not. You're not. I shouldn't be giving you a piggyback ride while I'm trying to catch the ball.
I remember that play.
Like, so like that's a problem, but that's also why I say collusion, because if you're calling holding and pass interference on ticky tack stuff on one side, but you're allowing Levante David to go for piggyback rides, what are we doing here? Like what's happening? Where's the parity?
Yeah.
There's no parity in what you're calling.
Yeah. So,
But yeah, all in all,
yeah. So
but yeah, I think that's it. Yeah.
So for me, the only thing, there's a few things I want to add. Really, just when I say the coaching staff was bad, the coaching staff was really bad. I know, Tobias, you asked a question earlier. What could they have done differently on offense? Mark, we got deep into running the ball and stuff. The flats were not open.
No.
The Chiefs like to run a lot of plays to the outside, and teams that don't have the speed on defense usually get beat by it. It was a problem for the Patriots when Tom Brady was still there, when they played the Chiefs a couple years ago. You know what I'm saying? Because the Patriots don't typically have athletes on defense. They have smart players. So that's usually what they're doing. They're like, hey man, these guys are gonna. Nobody has the type of speed we have. We're gonna use it to our advantage, get to the outside edges. Guess what? Tampa Bay has the type of speed that they need to cover that. You know what I'm saying? You know, go.
Nigga, what, baby? You already know I was
I wasn't going to say his name because I ain't even want to set you off. But go ahead. But yes, he is on the team. Devin White is on the team. Shaq Barrett definitely gets down. He's got some speed on it too. But yeah, and JPP is not exactly a slow guy for a defensive end. So they have all these guys that can cover the outside stuff. And it just seems to me like if these guys are inherent on covering, if they're just like intent on saying, look, we just not giving up nothing on the outside, eventually you got to test the inside. They did. They tested the inside with inside runs and it worked and they went away from it. But that's not the only point. I saw Tampa Bay on the other side of the ball getting the ball to the running backs coming out of the backfield over the middle. You know why? Because everybody else was everywhere else on the field trying to guard wide receivers. There is no reason why, if you are going to move your running back into the passing game and say, you know what, we want you to go out to the pass, there's no reason why they should just continually go to the flats or go out for screen passes. There should be a time where you say, we're going to try to get you over the middle. It never happened. Now, Tobias, I got one question for you. And this should be a really easy one because, you know, you watch football. You probably played football. You also played Madden. You know what I'm saying? If you play Madden, let's just go with Madden. If you play Madden and somebody is killing you, let's say it doesn't matter if they're rushing 4 or not. If you got a guy getting in every single play, what is the next step? What can you do to stop that? I'm
calling 9 to Tyreek Hill and he's going up the field and I'm taking a shot somewhere.
But the main thing is, in order to take a shot play, on those shot plays, usually the running back is in pass protection.
Right.
The tight end might also be in pass protection. Matter of fact, if you're really trying to get that shot play off, you might be in a 2 tight end set.
Right.
So that you make sure you have max protection so that your quarterback has time to throw the ball.
Correct.
Not once. Forget trying to take a shot downfield. I don't remember seeing the running backs in pass protection. Every time I saw JPP coming around the edge, I never saw Edwards-Helaire, Darrell Williams there to try to chip block them. They weren't there because they were out for passes. They never once tried to do anything differently to try to help protect Patrick Mahomes. And I thought that was the biggest mistake that they made all game. Glaring mistake. And that's one of the things, like I said, that I not only put that on the coaching staff, but Patty, you got to protect yourself too, buddy.
Yeah, you can now, because that's one thing. You're absolutely right. That's one thing he could have done. He could have said, "You're not going out for this route. You're."
Yeah.
But if I've been escaping these guys all game, and I'd be like, "Well, I don't need you. I can escape them and get the pass off."
Escape. Yes. That's great. But
you shouldn't have to do that. But
you shouldn't. You shouldn't settle for that.
Yeah.
That's that. He's settled. Yeah. You shouldn't settle for scrambling around 25 yards backwards and throwing the ball. So yeah, like that. I think that was like the most glaring issues to me. Is just like there was no adjustments by the coaching staff. I know that everybody's high on Eric Bieniemy. I don't know who was calling the offensive plays for the Super Bowl. I don't know if it was Andy Reid or Eric Bieniemy. Somebody somewhere between Andy Reid, Eric Bieniemy, or Patrick Mahomes. Somebody has to step up in that situation and say, "Look, man, we got to do something different." If you honestly were still trying to come back and win the game when you're down 28-9 or whatever it is, somebody has to wake up and say, "Look, we got to do something else."
Agreed.
And it never happened. So very disappointed in that. But on the other end, Tampa Bay, they literally came out, coached. I don't know if they could have coached a better game.
Perfect.
On both sides of the ball. I don't know if they could have played better on offense or defense. I honestly think they literally came out and played and did everything they're supposed to do. That's why this Super Bowl was so disappointing to me. Not because of the score, not because of what happened to the Chiefs, but because, like, even if that happens, I want to see the best of the best. I want to see the best coaching. I want to see the best play call. I want to see the best players play and do their thing. And I felt like what ruined the Super Bowl was besides the refs in the first half, you had the Chiefs players just messing everything up because we didn't even talk about the punter. We didn't even talk about how trash the punter was.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I remember him shaking though.
He shanked one. He had one go back for a touchback when it shouldn't have been that hard to keep it in bounds. Like it was a bunch of stuff that happened, but everything on the Chiefs side of the ball went as wrong as it could possibly go. And basically what you had was one team showing up to play and the other, and they literally were just kind of like on the other side waiting for the other team to show up, and they never did. Yeah. So very disappointed in watching the Super Bowl because I thought we were going to get the best of what both teams had to offer. We got the best of the Tampa Bay Bucks, and it was amazing. And we did not get the best of the Chiefs.
At all.
So,
yeah, y'all pretty much.
Yeah.
You have any other words, Tobias?
No, I think that'd be it.
All right. Well, I will point out this though. Your last thoughts from the Super Bowl for me is that Tom Brady did not deserve MVP. He was
Devin White deserved MVP in my opinion.
You could say anybody deserved it. Anybody on
anybody on defense.
Anybody on defense, you could have said they deserved the MVP. But and this is what bothers me about the media and about the media perspective in the internet. They're going to sit here and tell me that Tom Brady won the battle. Tom Brady went in there and dominated. Tom Brady did this, did that, did that. Tom Brady threw for 200 yards on 30 attempts. That's not good. That is not a good number. That is like 5.5 yard average. Tom Brady, that is a 5.5 yard average or something like that.
Yeah, it's not the best. It's probably maybe like 6 yards. It don't really matter.
No, not on 30 completions, 30 attempts.
Yeah,
because he had 21 completions.
Yeah, which is even we're not gonna get into that. But yes,
right.
If you really look at it, there was only the only two deep plays that I remember was the one early in the game to Mike Evans.
Mm-hmm. That wasn't going to get to Mike Evans anyway. It was overthrown.
And then there was a deep play on the outside in the second half to Chris Godwin, which was his first big play. And that was it. That's all I remember for big plays through the air. So
everyone's saying Tom Brady still has it, blah 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 blah. I want like Tom Brady. Tom Brady is far better than the person I'm about to name, and he does still have it. But what Tom Brady did in this game, Drew Brees could have did it.
I don't know.
That's a stretch.
Is it?
Bad shoulder, Drew Brees?
Doug, so you saying Drew Brees couldn't have threw that pass to Antonio Brown for the touchdown?
I'm saying he couldn't have thrown the pass to Mike Evans, and I'm saying he couldn't have passed the
the pass to Mike Evans was
the rest of them I could give him that. I don't know if he would have had enough steam on it to get it to Antonio Brown. I don't know. Those are the three plays that I'm gonna call out. Look, I'm not gonna sit here and say that the rest of the game he could have done. I did have to listen to the announcers like just completely suck him. Like suck him off in the middle of the broadcast and be like, oh man, you see Leonard Fournette, he runs out over the middle. See, he decides not to go through all his progressions and masterful. He throws the ball to Leonard Fournette over the middle. And I'm like, Leonard Fournette had nobody around him for 10 yards over the middle. What do you want him to do? Like that's not an amazing play, but it's Tom Brady. They're gonna
here's the thing, because that's the problem for me. Like you're gonna say this game ended all goat talk, blah 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 blah. Like Doug, how high are we holding victories? Because if we're holding victories that high, then Robert Ory is one of the greatest players ever to exist.
So, I don't want to start this. I don't want to start that conversation. But
listen, all right, that's a conversation for another day.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, listen, because I'm just like, that just kills that part really just kills me, dog.
How about this? It's the fact that Tom Brady is 43, and I think he threw 50 touchdowns in all this season.
Okay. He
He threw 42 this season, but
he was
up there. He was up there. Yeah.
yeah, but he has Mike Evans, Antonio Brown, Chris Godwin, and Rob Gronkowski. He has one person who's he's definitely going to the Hall of Fame.
Antonio Brown.
Oh yeah. He has two. No, I was talking about Gronk. I was talking about Gronk and Antonio.
Okay, yeah.
But I forgot about Antonio Brown. He has Gronk and Antonio Brown, who are definitely going to the Hall of Fame. And he had 2 Pro Bowlers. And he had 2 current Pro Bowlers. Like, his entire offense was lit. Like, we've watched a terrible quarterback throw for 5,000 yards with this team last year. And that terrible quarterback did not have Antonio Brown and Robert Gronkowski. So I can't give you but so much credit. I could give you credit for being able to perform at your age, but I can't give you credit for the performance. Like,
I give him credit for the efficiency and not throwing a bunch of picks. You know what I'm saying? Like, I give him that, and I do give it because, to be honest with you,
but that's what you're supposed to do, though. Like,
that's what he's supposed to. No, I'm not giving him extra credit. What I'm saying is, for his age and what he was able to do with this team, as far as the numbers, the performances that I've seen from him. Mark, I told you all year he was shaky. Some games he was really good.
Yeah,
some games he wasn't.
We also saw that now this is a credit I will give to Tom Brady, because we saw that was a matter of him putting his stamp on a team, because Todd Bowles, like I told you, I was like, I don't like some of these plays that Todd Bowles is calling. And
talking about Todd Bowles, you talking about
not Todd Bowles, Byron Leftwich.
Byron Leftwich, Bruce Arians, whichever one was called.
Yeah. I said I don't like some of these plays, and I was like, Tom is going to make sure that changes. And I was like, that's definitely credit to who Tom is, because I knew for a fact Tom is going to figure this shit out. Like, I was like, all that little stuff that's not working, that's going to be fixed. And that's why I picked them to go to the Super Bowl, because I was like, it's too many weapons, and it's Tom Brady. Like, Doug, who's going to stop them? I didn't believe in the Saints. And as far as Green Bay went, I was like, that's a toss-up, but Green Bay's defense is terrible. So I was like, okay, I'm going to give that to Tampa Bay. But we can move on. We spent a lot of time talking about that stuff, and there's more stuff to get to. Okay. So, with that said, we are officially in the off season of football, and because it's the last game of football, we're just going to keep this episode all football. So, with the biggest topic in football currently is Deshaun Watson. Where is he going to go? Is he going to stay with Houston? Is he going to go? One thing's for sure is he definitely wants out. And the team is saying that they don't want to trade him. Do we think it's a smart move for the team to insist on not trading him? And should he even be asked? Is he within his right to ask for a trade? I'll kick it to you, Tobias.
Okay, I'm gonna answer the first question. The first question was, is it conducive for the Texans trade?
Yeah, for the Texans to be like, no, we're not trading him. Like, if he's clearly saying, I don't want to be here anymore, should they keep standing on, well, no, we're not trading him?
I don't think they should keep standing on that, because I don't see any good at this point in keeping Deshaun Watson outside of just more subpar seasons because I don't think nobody really wants to play for the Texans right now. The Texans is probably the most undesirable places to play and even coach at this point in time. I don't see any reason the Texans should keep Deshaun Watson for the sake of the Texans because I don't think that keeping him is really going to do your franchise any better. I think it would be better for the franchise if you just go ahead and trade him because you can start off from something. You're at the ground level right now. You're going to be even lower if you trade Deshaun Watson, but there's no place but up from trading Deshaun Watson, and it amazes me because we have never seen a player of Deshaun Watson's magnitude be even think about being traded at the height of his career. He's an amazing quarterback, even probably even a better leader right now. I don't understand how they even got to the point of, hey, Deshaun Watson saying, hey, I want to leave after just signing a huge contract. I don't get that. I don't get that. To answer the question, yes, they should just go ahead and trade Deshaun Watson because I don't think it benefits them at all to keep him.
Okay, that's very fair. And do you feel as though Deshaun is in his right to ask for a trade from this team?
Yeah, because the trust barrier is broken, and I don't think the Texans are going to go out their way to heal what has been broken between Deshaun Watson and that team. I don't think they're going to go out their way to do that. I mean, they tried to go out that way to, I guess, hire a black coach, which honestly, it kind of makes me sick. The fact that the Texans hired a black coach because of the dysfunction that's going on in the Texas organization. And you have this black coach that has to deal with a black quarterback not wanting to play for his team. He's already in the hole.
Yeah, I was gonna say it reminds me 1,000% of the situation that just happened with the Houston Rockets. They got a black coach in the midst of James Harden asking to leave, basically.
Yeah, like
set up.
I don't understand. Did the Rockets organization or did the Texas organization really think hiring a black coach was just going to things were just going to be all well and dandy at that point in time? I question their motive on them hiring a black coach at this point in time.
Yeah, well, this is my thing about it. I think there's number one. I think that the Texans are going to be foolish if they want to stand their ground in this situation. They're probably thinking, hey, we don't want the floodgates to open with players that decide one day they're unhappy and they want to leave and they feel like they can demand a trade. I don't care. Everybody's not Deshaun Watson. Let them other people after the fact ask for the trade, and then you tell them no to their face. Simple. Mm-hmm. If they want to sit their ass down, let them sit their ass down. They are not Deshaun Watson. You're not going to get another Deshaun Watson. And if you do, it won't be for a long time. Okay? Most franchises don't get two Deshaun Watsons. That's just what it is. You know, some people, some organizations are fortunate, like the 49ers. You know what I'm saying? We were able to have Steve Young and Joe Montana on the same roster. That don't happen, okay? So you can't rely on that. So no, you let him go, and then you tell everybody else to shut the hell up. But the issue is now if they stand their ground on this, the issue now becomes in the future when you're trying to court new players, if you're trying to do things in free agency, if you're trying to make trades for players, this is where it hinders you. Now, if I want to make a trade for this player, I got to think about whether or not he wants to stay after his contract is up. If I trade for this guy and he got 2 years on his contract, now what I did in the Deshaun Watson situation might change the way that they feel about me. And you can trade for him. You can have all these guys under contract and say you have to stay for the contract. But what does it mean if everybody leaves and doesn't sign a second contract with you? And this is what they're kind of setting themselves up for right now. Now, as far as Deshaun Watson having the right to, he definitely has the right to. And I feel like, I'm usually on the side of the players when it comes to stuff like this, but I do understand the standpoint of people that look at it from an ownership perspective. So this is what I'll say. The trust, you talk about the trust being broken. Because the trust was broken on the organization side, and because he sat through it and he kept his mouth shut for a year or two, that's the reason why. Like people always talk about, oh, well, you should just be quiet and play. He did that for 2 years. I don't know how much longer you want him to be quiet and play. So he already showed me that he gave them more respect than I thought that he should have already. He did not say a damn thing when they traded Hopkins away. He showed up like a good soldier, showed up and he played, right? He literally has been a model citizen for everything that everybody always asks of these athletes. And he's been that way in college, in the NFL. And this is the first time that he's asking for any of this. To me, this would be like Hines Ward back in the day with the Steelers being like, look, man, I want to get out of here. You have to be looking at it like, yo, the organization must be doing something crazy. So to me, yes, because the trust and all these things were broken on their side, and because he already sat and been quiet for a couple of years, that's enough for me to say that he has every right to. So even if you think players shouldn't speak up in those situations, he went through the proper steps in being respectful already. So,
right. Well, I'm just going to say this to that situation. As far as the Houston Texans go, it doesn't benefit. You guys are absolutely right. It doesn't benefit them at all to try to keep him or try to force him into any sort of situation, because at best you're going to have an unhappy quarterback that doesn't want to be there, that is forced to play. You can, and I've heard this morning when listening to Get Up that they should try to fix like everything they can to fix whatever situation there is by, like, if whatever he asks for, you do it, blah 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 blah. Listen,
that ain't the way
that was already broken because you offered him, at least according to the reports that are out there and the stories that are out there, is that you offered him a say-so in who the general manager will be. You offered him a say-so in who the general manager will be and who the next coach will be. He gives you whatever he gives you that says these people blah 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 blah. You ignore it completely, never interviewed him, go with your guy. You've all like, so now he can never trust you saying, we'll give you whatever, we'll do this, we'll do that, because that's how we got here in the first place. You said you would do something and then didn't do it. So,
and then he had to find out about the head coach and hired through Twitter? Was that?
No, it was the general manager.
GM. Okay.
Yeah.
Like they literally didn't tell him. He just like, wow.
He found out when the world found out.
Right.
Yeah. They didn't consult him. They didn't tell him.
Which is clear like a trust there. Clear like a trust.
They're treating him like he's a special teams player, bro.
Right.
Like he's not a franchise QB. So you can't blame him for not wanting to be one if you're not even going to treat him like one.
Right. So, and as far as like him having the right to, that is my basis for him having the right to, is because if you're not going to, it's mostly because you offered it to him. It wasn't like he demanded, I demand a say so. No, you said we'll give you a say so and then didn't do it. Like, so that's like, yeah, I went out of that situation.
Yeah, the key word that you used at the beginning was they. The key words, they offered. He didn't ask. say so. You are.
Right.
How you gonna offer me something and then not do it? Like
Right.
I ain't even want it, but I want it now that you offered it, and now you didn't give it to me. Like
Right. So,
wow, man.
all right.
Yeah,
So,
totally communication on the Texans part, but yeah.
yeah. Well, moving on, and in another QB situation, I heard that the 49ers signed Josh Rosen.
Yeah, we did. Hey, man, look, man, I don't need no more Snickers for the day, man. So I'll tell you what, these fool, like, so I'm gonna let you know how my day went. So I got Jerry, you know Jerry, Mark. Jerry's hitting me. Well, no, you know him too. He be in the chat on YouTube.
Mhm.
So yeah, Jerry hit me up talking about, oh, Josh Rosen, that's it. Jimmy G is out of here. He'll win the starting position over him. And I'm like, dog, I'm like, Josh Rosen, us hiring him and picking him up for our team means that they're sticking with Jimmy G. That's what it means to me, because I don't think he can beat Jimmy G out for the position with the way that our coaching staff feels about Jimmy G, right? So that's just how I feel about it. They're looking, Rosen is the insurance policy. Rosen is, hey, we're going to give Jimmy G more time, and if it doesn't work out, we have Josh Rosen because, you know, he's still on his rookie contract, yada, yada, yada. Like, he is the insurance policy. This means they're going to give Jimmy G another fair shot, I guess. But if you think that Josh Rosen is coming in to replace Jimmy G, that's not the situation. So, and then of course later on work, I got my boy Willie hitting me up, and you know he's like, "Hey man, he is like, Josh Rosen, you guys signed Josh Rosen?" I'm like, when did that happen? I was like, man, it was like yesterday or 2 days ago. I don't remember. He's like, damn, why wasn't that in the news? And then he starts snickering and laughing and shit, and I'm just like, and then somebody was like, because it's Josh Rosen, and they're like, bah! Everybody's laughing and shit. I'm like, man, look, I ain't got time for y'all today, man. I ain't got time. As a Niners fan, I ain't got time for this shit, because this is what we do. This has been our track record. We go to the Super Bowl, we lose, and then we fucking destroy our team. That just seems to be the pattern that we're going in. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I wouldn't call this a team destroying move, but I feel like we absolutely need to shit or get off the pot, as they say. We need to figure out whether we run him with Jimmy G or not, and we don't need any of these half-ass moves. If we picked up Josh Rosen and we believe in him, then we need to ride with him. And I have said in the past that I felt like Josh Rosen never got a fair shake, and I felt like I wanted to see him get a fair shake, because he got ran out of the year he spent in Arizona was before there was like kind of like a retooling year, and then they picked up Kyler Murray. And then he went to Miami. He didn't even start for half the season. And then when he did start, it was remember, they were rebuilding. They sold off Minka Fitzpatrick. They gave away Laramie Tunsil. They were just doing a fire sale. Everything goes, you know what I'm saying? So that was the last part of that season where he played. It wasn't really, you know, once again, he was on another team that was restructuring a lot of shit. And then he just disappeared. So now we have him, and it's like, okay, so we're rolling with Josh Rosen. Okay, that's cool. But clearly, I like I said, I think he deserves a shot. I don't want him taking those shots on my team. I feel like we ready to make some. We ready to at least. I think we're good enough with everybody healthy. We are good enough to go to at least make it to an NFC Championship game. I do not need Josh Rosen on my team to delaying.
Well, let me ask you this
situation.
Let me ask you this. So, with you saying that, do you feel as though Jimmy G is a better quarterback than Josh Rosen? Do you think Josh Rosen do you think Jimmy G has more potential to be great than Josh Rosen?
What I will be very blunt about this. I don't know what Josh Rosen's potential is, because I feel like I've never really gotten the opportunity to see it. Okay. And with that said, that ultimately means that he has greater potential than Jimmy G, because I've seen what Jimmy G has to offer. And I don't think that I think Jimmy G's at his ceiling.
Okay, so
I don't think it's better.
So why not take the shot on the kid, man?
Because it takes time to develop. And what I'm saying is,
well, they'll have an off season this year. They signed him early enough.
Well, okay, let me be very clear. We have a defense, we have a running game. We just need somebody to do the biggest thing we're missing, Mark, is fourth quarter crunch time quarterback play.
Okay.
If the play calling is going to stay the same as it is, and they were going to lean on the quarterback to make plays when we're down a score or whatever it may be, and we need him to actually move the ball through the air and make quarterback plays, the throws that we're talking about, that Tom Brady, the reads that Tom Brady makes, and the throws that Patrick Mahomes makes. If we need somebody to tighten it up for that time period, then I don't know if Josh Rosen ain't going to just walk through the door doing that. That's what I'm saying. It's going to take time. And our team, the way our team is structured with our contracts and everything, we're not going to always have Nick Bosa and Kittle on our team. You know what I'm saying? If Debo continues to play the way that he does, we're not always going to have him on our team. We can't have all of our superstars. Everybody's on these rookie contracts for the most part. It's eventual. So everybody has to get paid at some time. And if we delay our ready now team another year or two, then we're going to miss our window. And that's what I'm afraid of. So I like Josh Rosen for a long-term solution, but I feel like my team is ready to win right now. And that's the only reason why I have a problem with the Josh Rosen pickup. But I do like Josh Rosen. Do not get it twisted. I do like Josh Rosen. The fourth quarter quarterback play, and the reason why I had this argument with somebody at work, and I mentioned Washington, Heineke. I don't know if it was with somebody at work or with you, Mark. Heineke, he didn't fold against Tampa Bay. Matter of fact, he didn't fold being his first start in a playoff game with that type of pressure. He actually came out there gunning. I mean, he was getting chased around the field. He got sacked a couple times. He just bounced back. He just acted like the previous play didn't happen. That level of poise is what we're looking for. You don't even have to be great. We just need you to have that level of poise when the moment comes. Because guess what? We're going to run the ball, and all we're going to ask you to do is throw 5-yard passes to our playmakers.
Yeah, I think the 49ers is definitely going to be one of those teams that's slept on next season because, injuries just completely destroyed y'all season this year, unfortunately. But I think the 49ers is definitely going to be one of those teams that gets, maybe top 4 playoff spots.
I feel like we could contend. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I feel like if we make the wrong move at quarterback, or if we go into this season, we do some weird quarterback controversy bullshit, then it's going to ruin those chances of us even getting into the playoffs. We are in a tough division.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The Rams just retool. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Russ is still Russ. Kyler Murray, that situation is getting better year by year. You know what I'm saying? We have to show up. We can't just be mediocre at quarterback.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right. That's fair. Moving right along and keeping it in the quarterback conversation. Let's talk about this, man. Eagles, another irreconcilable situation. Carson Wentz wants out from the Eagles. Eagles are ready to move on from him. A lot of trade rumors out there in the world with Carson Wentz. But the thing that I'm hearing and seeing on television and on the radio is, well, Carson Wentz needs another situation. Carson Wentz this. Carson Wentz has this ability. Carson Wentz has that ability. My question to you guys is, why are people still high on Carson Wentz's ability when we have seen him regress every single year since 2017?
I can answer that. I can answer that. He's one of these players that everybody was high on coming out of college because he played in the NFL-like system. So once you get that label, they're gonna ride with you to the very end. Guys like Sam Darnold, they just ride with them to the very end. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, out of all those guys that they've looked at coming out of college that have played in these types of systems, when you talk about God-given athletic ability, I mean, you're talking about him and Mitchell Trubisky as far as just athletics. Usually these guys are traditional pocket quarterbacks, but you're looking at a guy like Carson Wentz who has the physical gifts. Like he can move and juke and do all that stuff, right? Now the problem is, Mark, I always talk about this. What I say earlier, decision making, very paramount. He has all the physical gifts. They're looking at him being able to evade pressure. They're looking at him being able to evade sacks, even though he's been sacked the most out of everybody. They're looking at his ability to run. They're looking at his ability he has actually a strong arm. They're looking at all that stuff. So on paper, he has what they're looking for, Mark. But the problem is his decision making might be the worst out of every starting quarterback in the league right now. So they're ignoring his decision making and they're just looking at all of the metrics. And that's why, and you got to understand, they also seen him play at an MVP level at some point. So therefore they're going to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I think that aura of what Carson Wentz could possibly do if he had the perfect situation where he did not get injured, that aura of what if is still around Carson Wentz.
Yes.
I don't know if it will honestly ever go away. Because like you said, Shawn, I've seen Carson Wentz make decisions I don't think I've seen college players make at times.
Yes.
Like, and it's been absolutely terrible. I don't really understand the aura that Carson, like, what do people see out of Carson Wentz outside of what you seen 4 years ago? He was 11-1. Nobody will never know if Carson Wentz is going to take that team to the Super Bowl. Like, this is not going to happen. We just know he was 11-1. We know he was a potential MVP candidate, but we don't know if Carson Wentz is even capable of doing it again. That's pretty much what I got to say about Carson Wentz. I don't see the mystique.
You don't see the allure. Yeah, you don't see the allure and the mystique. Yeah,
I don't see it.
We don't see it, but somebody does. You know what I'm saying? Apparently.
Right. I don't see it, and I don't know. I thought about this today. I don't know what team Carson Wentz is going to go to and actually make them better.
The only team that I'm still sticking to my guns. The only place that I feel like he can have a remote chance of being successful is if he reunites with Frank Reich over there with the Colts. But my issue with that is their receiving core is not what it needs to be. I will say everybody remember the year he had, the MVP season he had, where he was on the MVP run, he still had Alshon. He still had, he still had Deshaun. Did he have Deshaun Jackson? Was he there for that?
Can't
back for that, Mark? You know?
Ooh.
Deshaun Jackson.
Who have
who was y'all receivers the year y'all won the Super Bowl?
No, Deshaun Jackson was not there.
Okay, yeah, but my issue is this: T.Y. is always hurt.
Right,
best receivers on their team right now is Michael Pittman Jr., who was just a rookie, and then I think Pascal, who's like a second-year player. They're not ready. Like, you're dealing with guys that ain't ready in a passing game. And then you're asking Carson Wentz to make something happen. They do have an offensive line, which would help Carson Wentz, a guy who likes to hold on to the ball too long. But Frank Reich is who the offensive coordinator was when he had all that success. So therefore, like I said, that's the only place I could see him. Now, will he have a better season will he do better than the Colts did this year with Phillip Rivers? I don't know. I see it being a lateral move.
I don't see them being any better with Carson.
No.
I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. No.
I don't see it. But Yeah, Mark, I wonder what your opinion is on this, man, because Carson Wentz has been your quarterback, of course.
Mhm.
Does he go to being a backup at this point?
I'm gonna tell you this. No matter where he goes, he's not gonna be a backup starting off because around the league, here's the thing. Around the league, there's an arrogance. There's an arrogance and an ego.
Do it.
There's an arrogance and an ego around the league that says, I had this guy as a number one. I had him as a first overall pick, blah, 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 blah. So everybody's going to go out to try to prove their ego correct in that he is who they thought he was, instead of being able to check their ego at the door and say, what I see is not the guy I thought he was. Because even when you take away from me all his physical abilities, everything he's able to do, that he has shown that he's able to do, he doesn't have this for the quarterback play. Even in 2017, that was all ability. None of this.
All improv plays. All his touchdowns, you've seen it.
Yeah, it was no football intelligence involved. It was all his physical God-given gift.
Backyard football.
And that's the problem for me. And like everybody talks about when Jadeveon Clowney hit him, when everybody talks about when Jadeveon Clowney hit him and he went out on a concussion. Hey, if you never even took off because there was nowhere to go and just slid or threw the ball away, that would have never happened. You tried to make something out of nothing that was never there.
When it wasn't necessary. It wasn't even third down or anything like that.
It wasn't necessary at all. And that's what happened to you. Like, it's like, and we watched it this year where he runs completely to the right side of the field and throw to the left side of the field. You are throwing a 50-yard pass that is going to gain you 1 yard. Like, that is nuts.
Right.
Like, that's stupid. Like, why would you ever do that? And then you have those plays, like I said, I speak about the intelligence of Patrick Mahomes, even of Lamar Jackson, because Lamar Jackson also shows this ability, and I talk about it a lot because
he makes a lot of the right plays.
Because it speaks to what's going on up here. When you are running and you could recognize, all right, this guy is here. I could try to go through him, or I could just take what he gives me and stop.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Those guys, the smart guys, will take what you give them, stop, and be like, okay, I'm gonna get out of bounds now. Or okay, I'm gonna stop now. And the only time they go for that first down, they're like, okay, it's third down. I need this down. I'm going to try to finagle my way around this guy while protecting myself. But you never see them force something that's not there. That's all I've ever seen from Carson Wentz, is force something that's not there. And essentially, he came from a D2 school, essentially. Like, so why are we talking about the NFL style system when he wasn't going against NFL style talent? Like, dog, you're going against trash. And not only that, in that season, in his senior season, do you know that he was playing well? He got hurt. The guy after him played the exact same way. That team didn't skip a beat. They continued to play well all the way
to be a trend, Mark, at this point.
All the way to the end of the season. And then he came back for the Senior Bowl and played well. So so all the things that you would attest to Carson Wentz, you could be like, well, it was the system because nothing changed.
Right.
Like everything stayed the exact same. And so but everybody had him so high that they can't quit him and they have to prove themselves right.
Yeah, yeah, and then also to add to that, Tobias, the new hotness, you know, what I'm saying, as they say, is being a quarterback guru. They call
Yeah,
everybody a
everybody
quarterback.
wants to be
Cliff Kingsbury, quarterback guru.
everybody wants to be a QB whisperer. Everybody.
Yeah, everybody wants to be that guy. Everybody gets touted to be that guy, even though they're not that guy. But it doesn't matter. That's the new hotness, right? And every time somebody gets called a quarterback whisperer or a QB guy, they immediately move up the ranks. Look at freaking
Adam Gase.
Jay Gruden was like the first one, but everybody else, anybody that gets called that, they just move right up the ranks. They skip everybody in line and they become head coaches. Somebody out there is looking for their shot to prove that they can fix Carson Wentz.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can't, let's say, forget about the fact that there's so many things up here that you can't fix. I don't think, right? If you do fix him, you're talking about, if you can fix up here, you're talking about a guy with all the other talents. So that's what they're looking at. They're looking at, look, minimal investment. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody's kind of down on him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not everybody, but he's coming from a situation to where they're down on him, and they're like, look, it's gonna make me look even better if I turn it around with him. So everybody's looking for their kudos. They're looking at him as a chance to move up in the world. So he's gonna be sought after, and they're gonna try to do something with him. You know, because everybody wants to be the guy that restores Carson Wentz to greatness.
Well, I mean, listen, I hope Carson Wentz is going to be one of those people that understands that, you know, because I'm not really 100% sure how the situation in Philly went with Doug Peterson as far as how they was, I guess, calling plays.
Well, yeah, but let me put it this way.
Well, what's your question? What's your question? I can answer.
I'm trying to think of the question, but y'all can go. But you can go ahead with your point, Shawn.
Well,
the reason why I was making so many faces was when you talk about you hope that Carson Wentz can, and I'm like, whatever you're hoping, stop it right there, because Carson Wentz is the guy that the second that they started, though they pulled him from the game and they put in Jalen Hurts.
Okay, I got my.
He started whining and bitching, and basically
is Carson Wentz too far gone to be coached anymore, or to think that what he's doing is wrong?
I will say this: he is too far along here.
Okay.
He is too far along here.
Okay.
Everything that has transpired here, it's a tainted situation that where there's no way, I don't feel as though there's any way he can mentally block that out and start fresh here.
Right.
But somewhere else, maybe.
Okay.
But not here.
Yeah, and the thing that I would be wary about if I was a team looking at it, I would look directly at that situation. Hey, you hit the bench for a reason.
Right.
They brought in Jalen Hurts for a reason. Like they let you stink it up for like 12 whole weeks and ain't say shit to you. And then finally, when it just became too much, they sat you. They actually gave you way more leeway than they should have, considering that they had Jalen Hurts on the bench.
Mm-hmm.
But they gave you that respect, too much respect. And then the day that they actually sit you, you want to go to the media and cry about it and say that you're being mistreated and you thought it was wrong for them to do you like that. That's a mentality that, like, so when you're asking me about can he change?
Well, he didn't, but it got out that he's upset. But he didn't directly say it.
But, fine, it doesn't matter if he directly said it or not. The point is, I've seen Cam Newton come out and be like, yo, I play like S. You know what I'm saying? I deserve to be benched. I seen him say that. If Cam Newton can have that type of humbleness about him, Carson Wentz surely should be able to be humble. And that's the thing that I would be wary of is if this situation, I would be concerned thinking that maybe this situation didn't humble him when it should have.
That's kind of what the kind of
Yeah.
the question I was getting at.
Yeah, I don't think the situation humbled him.
Okay, gotcha.
Honestly,
Gotcha.
no, he's shown us that with his actions.
Okay, that's fair. That's certainly fair. I will.
Yeah.
I'm going to end this with this. In my opinion, Carson Wentz is not a player that you want on your team. Because he is clearly a guy that is afraid of competition. He has shown to this point that his entire life he's come from a small town, and he probably, and I mean, this is just my summation, he probably was like, oh, he was small town, he was the man in high school, he was the big time quarterback in high school. He goes to a small college, he's the big time quarterback there. There's no question of who he is and what he does, and he knows everybody, and most of the people look like him because North Dakota, blah 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 blah. Now he gets to the NFL. You're the man. You were the number 2 pick overall. Like, you're definitely the man. But these players don't look like you. You have a hard time relating to these players. You have a hard time connecting with these players.
Just being a small town guy.
Yeah, just being a small town guy, and not having anybody else that looks like you around. I mean, just face it. There ain't a lot of black people in North Dakota.
No.
So, you know what I mean? It is what it is. But then, and now somebody's getting accolades where you should get accolades. You're not used to it. And there we see him fold. He mentally folded because of what somebody else was able to achieve. Instead of saying, I'm going to go out and get that, he mentally folded.
Yeah, I think that's something that you have to learn early in life, that you're not going to always be the best, quarterback for a team. You're not going to be necessarily the best quarterback for a certain
situation. Or you're just not going to necessarily be the best at whatever you do. There will be somebody better.
Exactly. And you got to be able to handle that and look yourself in the mirror and be like, hey, what could I possibly be better? I don't think Carson Wentz has done that.
Right.
Yeah, he there's a way to chip away at the gap. And the way to chip away at the gap is with work. I always bring up Peyton Manning in these conversations because Peyton Manning, he has an arm, but he ain't have no Brett Favre arm coming out of college. He ain't have no rocket. Like, he can't put that bitch on a rope for 40 yards, you know what I'm saying? Like, but he had an arm big enough to throw a deep ball. He couldn't move. You know what I'm saying? There was a lot of things that he didn't have, but what he did was he made up for it in preparation and timing. He's like, if I can't rifle it in between or squeeze it in between a couple of defenders, then I'm gonna have to find another way. And he's like, well, then I'll just work on my timing. I'll throw the ball before the wide receiver even makes their cut. I'm gonna need help with that. I need the wide receivers to be on my, on the same timing. Fuck it, we'll come in 2 hours early before run throughs. Like he found a way to work past his deficiencies because he knew that there was other people out there that was more talented than him. And that's what it comes to. He put in the work. He's intelligent, but he also put in the work. You know what I'm saying? So like Carson Wentz, I feel like he's a little bit arrogant in that sense to where I feel like he's not working on anything because I haven't seen any improvement. So that lets me know that he's not working. You can always tell when somebody's not working. We waited for years for Mike Vick to start making progressions. He didn't start making progressions until he got to Philly. that's when he started taking the shit serious. And then when he came out after he retired and said that's when he started taking it serious, we're like, we believe you. We seen it. We seen the results, right?
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where, like I said, Carson Wentz does have to figure out what he could do. But the fact that he's gone this long and hasn't, work ethic doesn't change overnight, man. That's what I'll say. And usually it takes a humbling moment to do that. For Mike Vick, it was going to prison and having football taken away from him. For Carson Wentz, apparently getting benched for Jalen Hurts isn't enough. So, he's gonna need a little something to humble him. But as of right now, you talked about the competition, Mark. He sees competition, and some people rise above that. Me, I'm one of those people that always felt like if I was playing against somebody better than me, my mind won't even allow me to believe that there's no way that I could beat them. Like, my mind is just like, no, there's got to be a way. I'm gonna try harder. I'm gonna do something. I could lose 5 times in a row and be like, no, I can't accept that, right? But I also tried to do something different. Carson Wentz is like, no, I don't believe this person's better than me, or I don't believe that person's better than me. But he's not doing anything different. He's just walking around thinking that he is already.
Right.
So,
I agree.
Okay.
Yep.
And with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. This conversation took longer than I thought it would, but that's because we kind of went down a rabbit hole with the whole Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady discussion. But hopefully you guys enjoyed that. You know what I'm saying? I'm used to playing this game. I'm a chess champ, so I apologize, Tobias, that you just had to fall for the trap, my guy. Like, it is what it is, bro.
I try to hook you up, Tobias. You know, saying I got him to admit a couple of faults, saying a couple of deficiencies with Patrick Mahomes. You know what I'm saying? I did the best that I could, man. And sorry I didn't, give Tom Brady a bunch of credit when literally he just showed up to work and they won. Sorry, I apologize.
Listen, Mark, you listen. I will give it to you this. Oh God, I'll give it to you this time. This time.
Yeah.
This time.
Okay.
Listen, there's going to be another time.
He said he'll be back.
Okay, I appreciate that, though. I appreciate that. I appreciate a man that knows, that understands. I get it. I appreciate it.
You call me some stuff. I'll give you that.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, then. So, with that being said, it's a shame that Darius couldn't be on because, handed it to both of y'all would have been nice, but it's all good. You know what I'm saying?
I think Darius would have put up a lot more of a fight, dog. That's a compliment to you, Tobias. I think Darius would have not accepted the truth, is what I'm saying.
Okay, got you.
But it is what it is, man. I appreciate you guys, man. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being on, man. Thank you for your support with us, with the hoodies, man. That's appreciated.
Oh yeah, man. Most definitely. I'm ready to rock it, man. And fire. So
yeah, dog. Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate y'all, man. Listen, appreciate y'all, fucking with me, man. And likewise, I fuck with y'all, man. I appreciate y'all having me on.
No, this was an excellent episode, dog. I can't wait to have you on again, man. I guess next we're gonna have to have Dame on at some point as well. That's
man. Yeah, why you making it like this, man?
See,
look, Dame talks a lot about dick, and it makes me kind of. I'm not gonna. I be looking at the screen confused, like, what's wrong with you?
I saw a post today, and it just really disturbed me. And it said LaMelo was the top 10 point guard in the league, and that shit came from Swaggy P, and people was co-signing it, saying that he's already in the league. Oh my God, everybody needs to relax.
Yo, that's perfect that you say that, because that will be a topic on next episode. So write that down, because that will be a topic on next episode. But with that said, man, the usual thing that goes out to everybody. Link, like, subscribe. If you have any comments on what we talked about in this episode, then comment on the YouTube page, comment on the Facebook, comment Twitter. It don't matter. hit us up, man. Silent Partner and Shawn Black, you know what I'm saying? Hit us up on Twitter. Hit us up at the eye test. You know what I mean? We there for all of it. And as usual, man, if y'all cool with us, we cool with y'all. Peace.
Yeah. Yep.